okay, but I've been fumbling around since you guys came in. Did you guys come to the lecture last night? No, you were there. Well, most of my work, I work pretty much with fiberglass and steel and things like that, but they're very difficult to show you what to do with them, and they're fairly toxic. So I guess I decided to show you guys some of the casting processes. So it's kind of delicate, so you don't want to pass it around, but that's the chicken wing one of the chicken wings that I made for my Peace Restaurant's Best. So I actually used real cooked chicken wings with sauce and everything on them. Because alginate, which we're going to be using to cast, is food safe, I ate the chicken wings after I cast them. So, you're in grad school and you're low on funds and you can make lunch and artwork at the same time, I guess. That's a good thing. So these ones you can pass around. These are cast in solid bronze. They're not finished polished yet. But if you look at those. So I guess I'm going to show you, the different processes as far as what it takes to get it to that point. So I'll take the chicken wings themselves, and we're going to go through the process with alginate to make a mold of those. The alginate is, like I said, a food-safe, water-based molding material that works very quickly. I think this stuff sets up in 10 minutes, but stuff that, like the art type stuff, this is more food-based, is like 4 or 5 minutes and you can be pouring a cast. So then, once you have that mold, I'll make a plaster version of it, so that obviously it's a stiffer version. You can sculpt back into the plaster and make the ends perfect, because you're always going to have somewhere where your pour spout is, so that those are a little deformed. So when you pull that out and it has a weird end with the plaster, you can carve it back. And if you're making something that's plaster based, that can be a finished product, but if you want to make multiples like I do, then you can use the alginate, then either make a plaster 2-part mold, or what I like to do is, because they're flexible and easy to get the pieces out, and they last a long time, I use these silicone rubber pieces. So what I would do for the chicken wings, you can see I bring 3 different.
Here's one.
No, these 2 are the same, but and that one's, so there was 2 drums and 4 different wings that I made. So then I made this, sorry, I got allergen all over this thing, but I made this what's called a gang mold, so that I have in each of these slots is a chicken wing. So they,
like a bucket.
They come apart. And so as you slice them down the side, you can see that each one's going to have a chicken wing in it. So like I said, there's 4 different actual wings and then 2 different drumsticks. So every time I pour a version, I have 6. So I'm continually pulling those out when they're empty, refilling them, and going back and forth. So...
Can you put the brass right into that?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. So we're going through, so then I make...
I have a quick question. Is there anything printed? Or...
A handout?
No handout.
No,
Okay,
no.
just checking.
Yeah,
Just to see if I...
Google and YouTube is way better than anything I'm going to ever teach you here. And that's how I learned most of my tricks and tips. Honestly,
I agree.
you can't beat it. And like, this stuff has been done by thousands of people. Like, why me? You know what I mean? Like, we can learn however from whoever. So then I would make a kind of a form like this. When I poured the plaster versions of those, I dunked something in the end. I usually use nuts and bolts because you can adjust them. So that if you can imagine the chicken wing cast in plaster with a bolt sticking out of it and then hanging in here in a clear. So then when you pour all those plasters that are in there, you pour your rubber and then cut it open and pull your plasters out. So then you have this open mold. Going from here, we pour hot wax versions. These are kind of cast-offs, but here you can see like the vent that I told you about. Like that's where I'm pouring the wax in. That's the kind of chute that goes down. So these are very light, but
Then this gets cut off, I think.
you can if you want, but for the casting process of bronze, you're going to make a sort of a tree. And usually, I do casting in bronze myself, but for ease of getting it done quicker and perfectly, I pay a place in Sarasota called Bronze Art to do the casting in bronze, just because they have the material. It's really high quality material. They do use a process called ceramic shell molding, where they're actually dipping your molds slowly into layers and layers of ceramic, so that your first dip is like a very, very thin, non-gritty detail dip, and then they add more and more material. So that ends up being, chicken wing like that probably ends up being maybe like this in ceramic, so that when you pour the bronze in it, it doesn't just blow apart with the heat, you know. So you can see it's like a long process, but once I have this mold, I can pull chicken wing, like the waxes all day long, gang those up on a tree and have maybe, I think when I did it I had 2 trees of 20 wings cast at the same time. So it's, you know, this is doing the extra work and having this thing, like this thing will last pretty much forever without deformation or shrinking. The alginate is good. I think it's within 45, they want you to use it within 45 minutes because it's water-based, and as it starts pulling water, like losing water, it starts shrinking and deforming. Maybe that's something that's cool that happens, that if you use an old alginate mold and it's like awkward and shrunk in a weird way, then maybe something cool comes out of that too. That's last night I was talking about happy accidents that you don't know. You know, you can't take credit for what happens if it happens by, you know, either doing something wrong or doing something not the way you're supposed to do it, which that doesn't happen unless you're just like trying new things, which is interesting. So that's the mold making process for my chicken wings. Most recently, I just finished a job for the Tampa Bay Lightning, actually. I did, this is half of the mold, which you can see is the blade of a hockey skate. And then this one, the mold, they always, I mean, the smaller molds look like a block because you always want to keep the material cost down, right? Like this thing obviously looks like a hockey stick because it is a hockey stick, and I wanted to use as little rubber as I could, you know, because the stuff's expensive. Like this mold, another big piece, like probably 4 molds this size is like, I paid like $850 for rubber.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So the rubber gets real expensive, but now, you know, out of this mold, I made 4 hockey sticks. Out of that mold, I made 2 blades, but I could go back in 2 years and make 50 of them.
You can make all the money back.
And all your money's tucked away, but this thing, you know, I have shelves of these molds of, you know, certain things. I just thought I would bring the ones that are most,
What's in the label, though?
well, I know what they are. And like, because the way you cut through them on rigid angles becomes registration anyways, so like, you know that these are going to go together and that those are going to kind of fit together. And even the tops, you can see where it needs to go. And then down inside, you can see where they don't line up, and you just keep moving them back and forth until they don't line up perfectly. I also have, these are tougher to keep because when I put those in, I can stack them in all weird, like that one can bend around and be in a place. So to keep these for every one is tough. When I go back, I make a brand new one every time, so it's not all dirty and nasty like this. It's brand new, clean, ready to go. Like this one's beat, you know, like it's coming apart and stuff, but it's easy because this mold is so floppy and it falls apart like that. It's nice to keep that one in a place, you know. This got a little dirty, but this is the actual knob of the hockey stick that I cast, so you can see like the end just taking all the detail from even the tape, you know. So that would be the top handle of the hockey stick. So what I think we're going to do is we'll choose a couple of these pieces, maybe 4, 5, 6 things maybe. I'm going to kind of, I guess, more than anything, I'd rather teach you guys how to kind of look at an object and then decipher which method or how you're going to cast it, because that's probably the most useful thing, is to how can I do it pretty quick, fairly dirty, and fairly accurate, because for most things, as an artist, you're not necessarily making production molds. Like, if a mold making place is making a mold, they want to make a mold that's like really, really, really perfect, and they can pull thousands and thousands of objects out of perfectly. So you would make a multiple part plaster mold or something like that, or rubber lined and then plaster mother mold. But for artists, I think more often than not, you just want to get the thing and take it from the state that you had it into something that's more useful, like as a plaster replica that you can carve back into and polish up, and then use that to make a better mold if you decide, So we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to do maybe an open face. I want to take a mold of this anyways, but I'm going to show you guys how to do a shallow mold, so that you can actually, if you just want half of this, you can just pour it and pull it and then do an open pour. I think we'll do maybe this beer can or something, because it's fitting, and this one's got some history. You can see it's been beat around, so we'll do that and pour that in plaster. We can try and pour maybe the skate in plaster, because we have lots of plaster, and we might as well keep mixing. I'll teach you how to mix it perfectly, and I don't want to say perfectly because it's not perfect, but perfect enough. I like that term. So because we have a lot of it, we'll pour one of those. Maybe we'll pour a gang of the chicken wings. That one's difficult because you need to, but we can maybe try to pour that one. Be careful with that. And then, yeah, we can do a couple of these things. But what I'm going to show you is there's many ways to do this. I would say that if you were working in a plaster, or if you're working in a ceramic shop like this, I think the easiest way to make a mold is to have a slab of plaster and use aluminum flashing, which you can get. I went up the street and bought this at Home Depot. It's just roofing flashing, and you can roll it, pretty tightly. Like this is tight enough for the beer can. As a rule of thumb, probably because alginate's fairly cheap, and it's cheap, but it tears easily. You want to give your object a little bit more room. Like we have maybe 3/4 of an inch all the way around. That's pretty good. The plaster or the plastic, if you're paying, or the rubber, silicone rubber, if you're paying to do that, I usually give that more because it has a possibility of tearing. And the closer you are to the edges, or the more you have on the edges, the more area you have to clamp to, because your clamping is everything that's keeping the material staying in there. So if you're pouring hot wax you pour it at 140 degrees, it's pretty liquid, so it wants to run out of those cracks. So you want it kind of chunky like that, so you can have something to grasp onto to clamp it to make sure it's shut. But for these objects, like I was saying, if you have a slab of clay, just wet clay, you can actually take this, slide it over top, and just physically push it down into the clay, and that becomes your bottom. So then you pour your alginate like we will be doing, and then pull it up, flip the thing over, and you already have your pour spout on the bottom. So it's like the easiest, quickest way to do it. Other ways are to use plasticine. Plasticine also, like I'll show you how to do this, or when we do this, is to fill in bottom pieces as well. If you want to make this, that's not necessarily flat, but you could build it up so that is on a flat surface and pour over it. This is good for sticking things down into the bottom, but these are also really good to cast in. So if I was doing a piece, like this is kind of overkill, but this piece down in the bottom, just sticking whichever end, you have to think about where your detail is and what you want to keep and what you don't. Like this thing, because it has a part line on the back, if you could fit it, I would maybe keep the butt detail and the head detail and stick it to its back, because that's a nice easy place to sand it off later. but that's good for sticking that down to the bottom. Depending, the alginate is really lightweight, so it doesn't really have any volumetric pressure, like pushing things apart. So realistically, you could take a sheet of plexi like this and probably run along the outside with this, and if it wasn't strong enough, on the inside as well, to make a dam and to stick that down, because it doesn't have very much pressure. That would work. But I tend to use hot glue guns because they're easy to use, and you can kind of just, anybody can do it. So you always have scrap pieces of plexi around. You'll make a tin like this, you set it down this way, whichever is the flattest. We'll hot glue around it, and the hot glue becomes the seal. Pop the hot glue off, pull it out, and you have your mold. So we're gonna do a couple things. We'll do, this one's pretty much ready. This, because the beer is heavy, we probably won't have to stick that one down. I think it'll stay. So if somebody wants to, do you guys have a preference over what these things, of those objects that we do? No?
I brought my silver dolly lips. Can I use those?
Yes, you can do those.
How about this?
This
That's
the tadpole
difficult.
guy.
The
Hang on,
tadpole
knob.
you should do.
I think that's possible. I know it's kind of flat, isn't it? Is it possible? Maybe it was.
Yeah, I think this is possible, but I think because you have a little bit of undercut around there, when you try and pop,
It might
you
crack.
could try it.
Do you want to fill it in?
Fill
the back?
it in with
Yeah, if you fill this in with clay,
Okay.
that'd be a lot easier. So if you want to do that,
Okay.
we have some clay that you can do, or you want to use the
There's
plastic?
clay in the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the barrel.
Yeah, go ahead.
This thing, right?
Yeah.
And then
I have these now, a knob. Would that be good?
you could try the
Just in
knob.
the first barrel here.
Let's
Is the hands on that though?
yeah, you can do your hand.
The hands are
You
easy.
guys, the hand's an easy
My
one. If
hand.
you guys want.
The chicken wing's happening now, right?
Yeah, we'll do the. We don't need to do. We're going to do those in plaster.
Okay.
We don't necessarily need to do it in alginate. You can do it in alginate if you like. The alginate molds are it's an intrinsically throwaway
Like a
mold.
one-time-
It's a one-time shot.
Yeah.
So hands, we can go. This is kind of small for my hand, but we can do in here. I also brought this, which we can do. If somebody has a smaller, thinner hand and they want to do kind of an arm deal, we can. I'm a little bit big for that, but we can do like that size. Containers are always fun to figure out, like what is the best container, because too small.
No, for you? Okay.
Just cleaner.
Can you keep it like,
Container.
I have stuff.
yeah, for 10 minutes? Can you do it?
I don't think I got extra room in the back.
And your hand touches the end? Okay, yeah, you don't want that.
Mine can fit in there.
Yeah,
We can pick those?
yeah, we can do it, whatever. Here, why don't we do the hand in this one?
Well, it doesn't matter though.
This one's a little dirty, we'll have to clean it out, but this is probably better for the hand, right? Because you can keep your,
Yeah.
okay, we'll do that.
I don't know if you want to try
This thing,
I'll take a little.
yeah, let's do
You
that.
wanna think about what position to put your hand in? 'Cause,
Yeah. Can we
at
take,
the
we'll
last
take
one,
one
there
of
was
these.
a,
We have a razor knife, like a box cutter.
when the fingers are curved up, we have to make
Exacto,
sure it's
do you have a
traveled
box
to
cutter?
get
That's
air
fine.
bubbles out of the
An
plastic.
Exacto will be
Because the
fine.
air bubbles got caught.
So what we're gonna do is,
So we did like that.
take one of these.
When they did
Yeah,
like
that'll be
this,
fine.
when we poured the plaster in, I think it was already too thick, but we'll have to make
No,
sure
no, no,
it's up.
what we should do is pop a hole in the bottom of this and bolt it to the bottom in there.
Well, yeah.
Then we'll pour it open like this, and then when we
Yeah, I
flip
mean,
it,
you're
we'll be
gonna,
able to pour down through that.
and you don't wanna go all the way
Make it
around.
flat.
Remember your,
So I would say that cut this to,
Oh.
like,
I know.
you know, you have just enough.
Timer between 180 and 230.
So,
Yeah.
Teaching.
So we don't use too much.
I'm not at PILOTE this semester, but I have been in the past several
Here you go.
semesters, and then at the Digital Media Arts College as well.
And then,
It's in Boca,
if you wanna do that, and we can,
or just off your motto.
Well, if you wanna do this, go ahead and do it, and I'll just
Who?
do a tadpole.
who would that?
We both wanna do it.
Okay, yeah, what we can do is, the plaster goes quickly, so we can fill the alginate mold with plaster, pull that plaster again, and then re-pour it in plaster, so we'll have two You know what I mean? And they might even be a little bit different because the plaster takes, or because the alginate might start shrinking a little bit. So what we need to do is, for that piece, take this.
We've got, I don't know if you need one bigger ones for the gear.
That one, I think I'll make a tin mold. So take that and take some of this plasticine, and what you want to do is seal that piece down to the plaster. So just like when you set it on the bottom, like that. Yep. And then maybe put some on the bottom and stick it to it first.
Okay. So you want to put some underneath this. This isn't totally a little underneath.
I must use this one.
You're just gonna put a little underneath first?
Yeah, I would say take it. You see a little bit of that plasticine. Doesn't have to be completely flat.
Okay.
What I'll do is roll this out pretty thin,
This comes in.
and then run like a line
Yeah.
along here.
Yeah, it's just hard to make a
And
cast.
then when you stick it down, it's kind of sticking. But then once you do have it on there, I would say that all of these other weird,
Kind of an
I would say
extruder.
like kind of
I brought my extruder.
build it in like this, and then we'll kind of,
Okay.
just so that it needs to be stuck down to it.
Now you want me to make a hole there, you say?
Yeah, can we make a hole in the bottom of that? Just enough for the bolt to go through.
Sure.
So you,
I got
which
my
one are
lips
you
on.
gonna do?
You want, you got the lips,
You're gonna work
alright.
together on that?
Smooth
Okay.
these out smooth that out so it's pretty.
Do you wanna pick something to,
We need to send it out.
we just need to find a container, well, we could
Like water
use
it?
that one after she's done, if you're
You can just use
gonna
the-
use that container, or, cause it doesn't
Or you
take
figure, yeah,
that
whatever.
Right. Yeah, that'll be perfect.
So I want to make like a Salvador Dali on the wall, you know, like an eyeball, you know what I'm saying, like Salvador Dali painting.
Yeah, just make sure it's packed
might
in
be
there
able to take
really.
it.
Okay, so smooth it out.
We
Yeah.
can take it with that stick right there.
And then you use less material.
And you use less material and you can use that, just make sure I get that.
Okay.
We've got a ton of
Screw this like
Okay.
this.
Yeah, I just,
Your first name is?
Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Do you want me to screw this to this a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. With this inside the cup.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
A whole bunch of these.
We can take that, can't we?
It's got a big crack or a little crack?
Can't we take
I
it?
do. I know, it's crazy.
Oh, that's fine, we'll duct tape this.
Yeah, duct tape.
Duct tape your friend.
Yeah,
Yeah, just make sure the.
Sorry, this is kind of a free-for-all, but we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your hand as well?
Yeah, so, I don't know, once
do
she
you,
does
what
her.
position are you gonna do your hand in? I
Where's
guess
that,
it's not even straight,
yeah,
because there's this one too, if you're wanting to do something.
That'll be just, that's fine.
I don't know if it's the right kind of angle for pouring, though, let's just figure out, if it's to have a
Yeah, that might
channel
be.
to go down, so
So you didn't do that.
as long as it's like at enough, if your hand's at enough of an angle, we can still like have the.
Right, if it's like that.
Yeah,
Be able to pull it on there.
yeah. As long as you keep your, maybe if you keep your thumb tucked in so that there's a half inch on either side.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But yours, you can be closer because, okay, the difference is things like your hand. If you're plunging in, when you pull your hand out of that, it's ready to pour. We don't have to pull it out of that mold.
Right.
For a thing like yours, we're gonna pull the whole alginate out, and then we're gonna cut and pull that piece out, and then put it back in and pour here. So you have to think about how flimsy is your mold gonna be if you have to slide the alginate out. You know what I mean? Like my chicken wings, I would do in a cup like this. And I would slide it out, I would cut down the seam, and then slide it back in to pour. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have to figure it out for each of these. That one, and like the beer can, because we're gonna be top hatting it like this, we can slide it up, cut it, pull the piece out, and then put it back down upside down and pour in the bottom. That'll work for that one. Yours might be a little bit difficult because hopefully it's thin. When things are thin like that, the alginate might want to sag a little bit, but it's best to try. It's best to try. And then for yours,
It's like,
yours, what we're gonna do is,
whatever details this Sculpey has.
Put it out, it's like-
is part
like
of
that,
it.
right?
So,
Facing out?
yeah, make a.
no, I don't know, because you
We're
want.
gonna do with your. We're gonna do
But if you just have like.
We're gonna do one of these as well,
Might
like
even
this.
need a little more, but.
Yeah, but we're gonna, if you can build a cylinder. So when this thing sits in the mold, if it sat on something like that, when we flip that mold over, that can be what we pour into it. But we want it thinner than this because you're gonna wanna cut that off after of the plaster.
Just like a pedestal to hold
Yeah,
it.
do a little pedestal so that it holds maybe an inch off the ground from here and here. And then we'll make a little,
Probably something you can just shove into
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Yeah, there's
can we
like-
use like a PVC pipe? Like,
Sure,
is that
a small-
too narrow? That,
because when you,
you have bigger ones?
Yeah, because you're not gonna, it's not gonna be cut or
but
anything, is it?
if you make it out of clay though, the clay will be sticky and allow it to stand up. It might fall over if it's
I
just,
don't know what.
you know what I mean? Yeah, I think the clay might be better because it'll fall over with that.
This?
Yeah, just make a clay cylinder that, maybe even that tapers so it's a little pedestal there.
Oh, just using this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to have it hold up on. This
Um,
one, yeah.
Oh, like a popsicle stick, like,
Does it need to stick out to be even?
The alginate's pretty forgiving. Like when you slide your hand out of there, it allows your hand to go through the thin piece without ruining the detail, so you should be able to get that out.
I guess my question is, once you put the jar in here,
We're not doing the jar. We're doing, we're gonna cut some of this over top for our flashing.
But she's wondering, can I
Like, it's
have it
gonna go in?
undercut like this, or? do you
Yeah,
like-
that's what I'm saying. The
Okay.
alginate is really forgiving because you can, like I said, when we do their hands, your hand pulls through the thin wrist part fine and then comes out. It's like
flexible?
It's very flexible. Yeah, it's less flexible than, or more flexible than this. It's kind of more gelatinous, but it's the same thing. Like that's why these are nice because I can bend this thing open to pull pieces out of it. You know what I mean? So like it's going to be forgiving. The undercuts are fine. If you were making a 2-part plaster mold, you don't want that at all because you're never going to be able to pull that thing out of there. You know what I mean? Like if you any of these things, like most things, like if you poured this in a 1-piece plaster mold, you'd never get the bottom out, you know what I mean, because it's undercut on that. But for alginate, you can really quickly. But then you make, depending on what you wanted to do, if you were gonna make it flat, you might as well make it flat now, like on straight up and down on the sides, you know what I mean?
okay.
But it really depends. The nice thing about all the way through this process, if you want to refine your plaster, you can carve into your plaster. When you get your waxes done, I can go in, I'll usually go in with my pick. Where did I pick? Like I'll have a pick here, and like I'll clean little areas out that have too much stuff. So all the way along your casting, you can refine a little bit before you get into
So
the...
this one be,
And then the bronze is the worst because then you actually have to physically metalwork that. Like bronze isn't easy to get out of an area, you know what I mean? So
Do you want to put these away so they don't get dirty, or?
that's gonna come off
this
later
one
on.
maybe. Those
Yeah,
these
that's what I'm
ones I
saying.
don't really
This
mind.
would, you just have
Actually, you know what?
to sand it off.
I'll do the tadpole. Can we do like, and then we can do,
Yeah, I was gonna ask
More?
if we needed like something.
I'm not too sure why.
That one,
you can fit it
We-
on
we-
the tadpole.
We
Well, we can do
Why?
more of one,
can
right?
this
Because,
can this be cut?
Okay.
Oh, no, I was just finding.
Why don't we
something.
just use a plastic cup?
Yeah, use a plastic cup. The tadpole.
Once you drink the water, we can.
Right. So what you're telling me is I need to get to work on water.
No, I'm just saying.
So for this one, I would say that if you
it's
make
the
it
same
stand with plasticine
situation
straight up and down,
This is
and then we'll
all detailed
find
that
the
you want.
smallest
Here's
container we can
more
put it
one-sided
in,
than
which
the
is
chicken
probably
wing.
a cup.
Doesn't you want just this
So is she
really?
like covering it with plasticine?
No, just the tip, make it stand straight up with plasticine.
Film
From
all
the
this-
tail?
From
all the detail and all
I
that.
think from the nose, because it's not gonna stand up on the tail.
Or you don't.
And then
even
once you-
that.
Yeah,
You just pour it
so
in here.
be careful.
And just sand it.
And it doesn't have to be tall.
Have this-
Oh,
It
okay.
can be like just enough to make it stand up.
Oh,
Because
okay.
then once you pull the plaster out of it, you can sand the tip of the nose and make that round again, you know?
And what if I put the baby in there?
The baby in your hand.
This
This
might be
thing's,
hard to get
can
in.
we super glue it to your hand? Okay, then, because the baby is so flat, I don't think, or flat, light, I don't think you'll be able to put it in and it might float. But if it stays, let's try it, that's gonna be weird.
You mean like between two fingers?
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
In between two fingers, you might be able to do it.
Cause if
Oh,
it's
this is
in
gonna
the
be
ball of
weird.
your
I
hand,
want one of
probably
these.
just.
I have a few of those, you want one?
You have a couple
You got a
things
couple
that's
too?
lying around.
Hey, I'm looking at different fingers.
It's like you have 6 fingers.
Hopefully it's
Now
not
you can
a
count
prelude
to
your
11.
children yet?
No, I'm good.
Hopefully that's not gonna be a prelude to how many you're gonna have all at once.
Sorry, you guys that are doing the hands, you're easy because we're gonna mix it, do it, and go. These other ones, like we need to get
I'll
the
do my
mold.
hands if you want.
I don't know how much, I don't know how, we're gonna see how far the alginate goes. We should be able to do 6 things.
And then, hands are pretty quick that if we have enough, we can do those later.
Can I use one of those cups?
What are these ones? Yeah.
Well, that's probably worth
That'll work
that.
for that. Ooh, that's really light.
Catch that.
This one.
Do you do a press mold with
Hey,
those?
Bob.
or-
Yeah, do we have clay that I could press mold
Yeah.
this?
Oh, we
Let's
have.
press mold this one. That would be way better. Yeah.
Well, couldn't I do press mold with this? But it
You
would.
could, but if you want it to be, a knob again, no. You know what I mean?
Only
You
would
don't
only
want it to
have.
be
If you wanted the impression, then yeah, you could.
Bumps.
If you want to do press molds with the other ones and do a pattern, and we can pour plaster, and you can have a pattern. The plaster, you might as well. I mean, the plaster is not going to be very much. Can we just make it a?
I use clay to stick it to my hair.
No, it won't work, clay won't work.
It'll just.
It won't.
Like you wanna
It's not like
do,
glue.
you're saying you wanna do it shallow, so it's
Super
half
glue.
the size.
Super
Yeah,
glue does
yeah.
come off of your hand.
And then-
It's nail
then
polish,
it's,
remember, it
yeah.
comes right off.
This can be
That's
as
the
flat
trick.
as
I was thinking
possible.
it's
You wanna
I
work
have
on that?
acid on my finger. Because it has to not move around when you put, like, as soon as you put your hand
Somebody
in,
want
it would
to-
separate from your hand.
You sure it won't?
Somebody want to take this one? I got the hot glue
They
gun
used to
set up.
use super glue in the army for quick repairs of cuts.
Surgery.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, like when they're on the field,
They do that in art school.
like when they couldn't stitch, they didn't have time to stitch, they just super glue a wound shut. You know?
When did this come on? When did this come on?
You have to get.
Eventually, your skin sheds all the time. Eventually, it'll just come off. You know?
Your skin sheds all the time, it'll just come off.
Either that.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I thought you meant your finger.
Just in case.
Not the whole finger.
Little gorilla
Skin,
new one.
you're constantly like.
Check it down.
I would get super glue on my fingers when I would work with it, and eventually it just comes off.
What are you making?
I think I saw it over there.
Well, what about hot glue? Hot glue is good.
Oh no, you can't put that in your
No.
hand.
I'm serious.
Don't tell me.
With.
You don't want anybody to hear you.
Where's the women's bathroom?
This way.
We have a thing, I don't
It's
know.
upstairs. That is good.
Upstairs?
And then go all the way around and seal it.
I'm gonna use that again.
I think that's
And then,
This
is what?
Oh, she's talking about that.
Oh,
The back.
okay.
Yeah, so feel free to use
I need to make space.
Is that, does the tail stick out?
It has a curve, so I didn't know if it like.
It's fairly, is it big higher?
Yeah.
I have a water bottle.
Here, do you want this? This one, we just
There's
need
a
to.
bigger cup, the one you drank. out of.
Yeah, the one, I just want to get the water out.
Oh.
So that's it.
So the hot glue never melts the plexiglass?
Well,
That-
you could.
You haven't had a
It doesn't usually, no.
Okay.
I mean, it will deform a little bit, like it'll leave an impression, but,
Not like warp it.
But they also have low fire, low temp, and high temp. Could you use low temp?
I guess you could
There's
use
no
whatever
temp.
you'd like.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well,
I don't even know what that is that I have.
They
The low
have,
temp's not really
Use that
strong
one.
enough because how about that? It cools so fast that it doesn't get a great bond. I don't like to use
Peace,
the low
baby.
temp.
However you want to hold it. How about you don't tell us and we don't know until we pull the plaster out?
thank you.
There you go.
Put my hand in
Do I
there.
need a base for this one, right? Is that fine?
Just make sure that these sides are up by an inch, just so that we have enough, you know what I mean?
Like, it has to be higher then.
Yeah, so that there's an inch underneath you. Oh, this one done already? Yeah.
Well, it's still cooling, but.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Alright, let's do
It's
that.
hot stuff.
That's one. Which one? That one, we need to cut some of this for.
Okay, this is done.
That one looks good. It looks good, good.
Okay, it's fine.
That
What should I do with this one?
I need to be taking
What are we gonna do?
one, we need to find things, something that we can set under there. So
Well,
that
it's
we
on,
can
but
set this down.
like, we don't have.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like 2 pieces of wood or something.
You mean to hold it up straight?
So that it sits straight, yeah.
How about one of those cups upside down? If I pop a hole in it. If I pop a hole in it?
As long as it's fairly sturdy, yeah, that's fine.
No.
Okay, my lip mushroom is ready.
Okay, with
How
yours,
you're gonna, how are you gonna put
we
your
have
hand?
this one, we have that one, we use this one.
Second cup. To make it
That's a
stronger.
good idea.
Can I take a second cup? And
Absolutely.
make it so it'll make it
Yes.
that much stronger?
Absolutely.
Ready?
If you want to peel, just peel one side of that plastic off
You got,
there.
you got the
and then
eyes.
Stick it
You're
down
like,
to
you're
the.
giving the eyes toward the camera.
It doesn't do any damage to it, so we can use it for other things after.
Say that all the time. Who said that? My cousin.
See the eyes there? She's giving the camera
Center,
eyes.
make a difference.
Yeah, keep it pretty much centered so that we have a room around it for it. And then this one,
Do you need to, put your purse over here?
Yeah. It's gonna get dirty around here.
Yeah, send me that picture.
So we make not mold.
yeah, we're gonna use the alginate, and then we're gonna fill them with plaster. And then something small like maybe that, I brought some of my own plastic, 2-part plastic, so we'll make a plastic replica.
Your hand.
And then use that to make,
Then that, you can decide if you wanna make a 2-part plaster mold, or if you wanna buy rubber later to make I call them finish molds. So we're only doing the cheap steps of the process. Like if you wanted to replicate something, the cheapest way to do it is to use alginate and plaster, easily. Like there's no other cheaper way.
But if you wanna be able to do, if you want a mold where you can, like,
This is
make more than
sculpture.
one of them, I'm thinking you have to just like.
Don't even go any further. That is
Or
sculpture.
silicone.
Let's get some water in there.
I don't know. What would you call it? That's
Like
sculpture.
this alginate says it gets like maybe 3 things in one mold. Like that.
I'm gonna do also a press mold of it too.
So with this stuff, when you're cutting it, you
Be
need,
careful.
you just need some tin shears. I think it'll work with scissors, but then your scissors won't cut paper after.
Yeah.
But be careful because it comes in 10-foot roll, and if I let it go, it's gonna wanna, so we gotta keep a hand on it.
Yeah,
Is that
you can get a
flash?
pretty, you can get a good cut from that stuff.
Yeah, and this stuff, especially the sharp edges, or the fresh edge is really, really sharp, so.
That's flashing?
Yep.
Like you've used for roofs, on the roof and stuff?
Bought it this morning at Home Depot.
My
So are you
favorite
gonna
place.
do all the alginate at the same time, or do you wanna like show them the mix just one
I think
alginate?
that, let's get the molds ready, and then we'll figure out, well, we're already 45 minutes in. Yeah, we can, this other stuff's gonna go fairly quickly. So let's get the molds finished, and then we'll go from there.
Did you bring super glue? 'Cause she said she would super glue.
No, not super glue. I was just joking. I was totally joking. I mean, it depends if you wanna walk around all weekend with babies.
it's not gonna be tough. What, you got like, really
No polish remover
That's why it's called super.
Is it? No, it doesn't.
I don't know, I don't think
So I have.
I-
never told you that. When you were being used. I used to glue it on my window yesterday.
So you want, as little as possible.
Some friends are really.
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys were looking at this piece, because it's oblong, I would say that make it pretty small, and then see how you can do it this way. See, so you make a circle, we'll tape it that big, and then make it oblong like this, and somebody holds it while somebody else glues the bottom.
Yeah, the
It'll be good.
less material.
The less material you can use,
So let's tape it.
so like,
Well, masking tape, I mean,
Sorry.
sculptors don't use masking tape.
sorry.
Duct tape, that's it.
The tape is sorry.
This is for when your truck breaks down the way home too, so.
When the airplane breaks down, they use it on airplanes. There's a whole article about it.
The spaceship.
Yeah. My school, whenever they need his
One of the
they go, go to
space programs
Norman.
that
She's
I'm
got the
I'm just taping it. Will work.
No, because it's gonna wanna lift that off there, so I would
Okay.
say go over, if you take it this way. This might, sometimes I tape the bottoms, or like,
I smell that.
sometimes I'll glue the bottoms together.
What's that?
Yeah. That's how you do that. Just so that there's not a weird mark in there.
Don't worry, dude. Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, the HD.
So, just put a little bit in there. And just hold them.
Yeah, I already talked to the
Hot
professor, so
You don't wanna get.
Hot glue's
it's gonna be more of like this.
I did, I tried it.
Oh, if you don't mind me telling.
No, of course, no, thank you. There's just like a procedure.
Oh, I know.
So then we have a nice tighter seal. If you want to bring that piece over, make sure, just support it because that plasticine's probably going to want to pull off there.
You just made a
And
press
then-
open.
If you hold it and make it oblong, well, somebody else goes.
I'll hold it.
Whoa,
Yeah.
lower than that.
It'll use a lot of algae. It'll probably use one box for that, but that's fine.
I don't think it'll.
Really?
It went
Okay.
pretty far, like,
So then if you just wanted to go along and slowly wipe this and
I think we use like maybe half a bag for 2 hand molds, so.
Want me to cut one?
This thing, do you want to cut some?
Yeah. Where's the roll?
Wait, take
This is
out
the
your
roll,
directions.
Where's the roll?
the scissors are right there, this is the roll.
That's the roll?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then the shears are there.
This roll.
Just, be careful,
Please.
please. This guy,
Are these
is
all?
it gonna be fairly easy for me to push this down, I think?
I'm gonna be deep enough.
So that's all you do is you press it in, Taylor?
Never done this before in my life.
Yeah, you can do.
I don't work with clay really, but, I mean, I
You can do like fingers and like,
Well, I'm just gonna press this in to get the mold.
yeah, but
As a
with
press
clay,
mold.
we can get kind of
Like
decent.
ceramics and.
That one, yeah. That one's my dad.
yeah, if you just wanna, but you gotta think about where the, where, if there's area for us to put pour the plaster into, right?
Yeah, there will be.
Okay.
So,
I think that's good.
I believe. Well, the good thing about clay is we can just lift it up.
My dad might hit him in the face.
Oh, bucket that I found.
No, it used, I think it used to be building 4 and now it's building 6 is like a whole new building.
Well, kind of. Yeah, but it's stuck to this. So I gotta redo it.
Get this off first.
This is not this.
Take off first?
Yeah,
no, I mean, just, you can
Yeah,
unwrap it.
it's also recycled, it's recycled clay, so
Just let it go.
having problems really gets to it. Yeah, I guess so.
Lay it flat. Right towards me. Right on my leg. This is gonna stick this with me.
Yeah, this is mainly ceramics class.
Pretty wet.
Able, you need help holding it or?
You only need like an inch around the object.
Is that big enough? Look. That much, right?
You probably don't even need that much. Because that's, make it a little bit
Right
bigger.
in there?
This is gonna be like really shallow.
Yeah, I want it fairly shallow, but,
But like,
I'm trying to get the clay a little damper,
yeah.
you know, consistent because
you can just,
Yeah. Oh, 'cause that one, but that size doesn't have any detail.
well, I mean,
Oh, right. What else what's our
Is that enough space?
They're doing their
hands?
hands.
Hands?
Is
You're
that enough
good?
space around there?
Yeah, I'm just, like, you could make it however big you want, but you always think about how much material can I conserve, you know?
That's all right.
Could be pretty good. How close are the ends of the lips to it? You want like at least half an inch, at least.
yeah, you got,
Yeah, I told them an inch.
that should be good if you go like this.
You make it kind of like an oval.
And then, so that one,
is like,
this one will be good.
5 minutes, right, what you said?
This
it's really
isn't
good,
a,
yeah.
no, it's thicker. Not good.
No, we have it.
it is on the inside. Oh,
That is not there. The alginate gonna be
This clay
chunky
is
enough
not
that it's not gonna
Clay is
go.
not working well.
The clay is not working because that's sticking to it.
Yeah.
Here, this is,
WD-40?
this is expensive mold release, but yes, it's probably just glorified WD.
I'm gonna just watch these all go. It smells just like WD-40.
Pardon?
close to get this.
Yeah, but this is stuff I was bringing just in case for other things. The mold release, like you could use, like Minwax, like if you, you know, like the stuff you would use for like paste wax. You could use soap, like mold makers with plaster mold, they call it soaping their mold, which gives it just a little bit of release. With the alginate, like you'll wet your hand a little bit before you do it, so you have just enough to slide out. But you know, really, the alginate's so slick itself, you really usually don't need very much on it at all. You know, you could use cooking spray for things.
Yeah.
You lose a little bit of detail sometimes. The alginate works funny with because of oil and water mixing. It kind of looks a little weird on the surface, but it all depends on what you're going for. Let's
Because you want to make it.
let's get mixing for you, I think. We'll take that.
Yeah.
If you guys, yeah, you guys can all kind of walk through it. So we're gonna fill that with water. Fill it up and displace.
Oh, there it is. That's right.
It's gonna go. And then,
I knew it was another one.
see how much-
Okay, so the one that he sprayed?
I've got it now.
This one.
Taylor.
Oh,
did you?
Also the one side first, and that one.
Well, no, I know what this is.
Is this what it is?
But now I hear it's pretty.
For artwork or for what? What were you
I
doing?
went for ceramics.
Ceramics?
Actually, I went for
Two.
publication ceramics.
Oh, perfect.
We're gonna make that
It's a
rubber.
little bit,
Yeah.
Rubber, what do you want?
You only did one? One
I
class?
just went, I left after one summer, and then gray hair, sculpture, staring.
Always staring?
Yeah.
When was this?
Completely.
So that's when you were,
Yeah, it's just about all the way filled with my.
and then, okay, great. So what we're gonna do is, if you can slowly fill these with that full amount, and then we'll know exactly how much we have. I don't know if you wanna do that in your,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter either way. And then you'll know exactly.
We're not gonna fill it all the way down, right? Just-
Those are like Robert Gobert things. You know Robert Gobert, the artist?
Yeah.
Like he makes, have you seen his clay sinks? Those are them.
Just gonna fill out like.
That's what I think of.
This worked pretty well.
Yeah. And then usually you would do, so what you would do with that spray, if you were gonna do multiples, usually you'd probably spray every time. But you could, if you were gonna do it with,
Where that is, so we know.
cooking spray would work fine.
I would think.
Well, you want some
Would that
more
be
at least.
40?
Yeah,
I mean,
but you
it's
got-
tough because it's like,
Well, he was too.
it's oily in like the gas oily sense, not oily in like
But I have a lot
slippery.
of, like Pam,
Pam, yeah. Pam.
I can do Pam.
Just
That's
don't,
household.
you know when you spray too much Pam in
Right.
your pan and it starts running?
Yeah, you don't
want
want
just
it
a
that-
dusting.
Right,
Like that
exactly.
stuff is
Okay.
just thin enough.
You can probably look away.
And then what do you, we're gonna pour this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So then,
One more of those.
Okay.
oh really?
Yeah.
So I
You
guess
can
I-
literally take a chunk of clay and just go like that,
Uh-huh.
and then take your finger out and just pour plaster in it. Like,
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty detailed, depending
that's
on
what we-
how dry your finger is and how wet the clay is.
Yeah. And the
Let's,
this clay is
so this
recycled
is,
clay and it's
it
totally
says 2 to
from.
1.
Well, it might not be bad for cats.
I was just
It's rainy.
you know,
Right, where I just glued.
I was just looking where the light was coming from.
I got red glue today.
There, right?
This was,
I wonder how red glue would
we
do.
have 3 of these, so that's.
Porcelain would be
So
the
we
best.
can do that.
We made porcelain yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
But then
Let's,
you can use it again.
let's just do it,
Just whatever's.
Salvador Dali picture, you know, the Dolly, famous Dolly.
So how, when you put your hand in, how much of your wrist did you?
Probably
Maybe a
the-
picture on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's,
Salvador Dali picture.
let's
You know,
just
he had
do
the
this.
eyes.
and we'll see what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Actually, there
If it's,
how?
then we're gonna mix it in here.
Sorry,
So what we're,
Hello?
Are you putting this somewhere?
yeah, just put them right here.
We're on the move.
Next step.
We'll do them. Awesome. So what we're gonna do, the alginate, this type of alginate says 2 to 1 ratio. Because it's water-based, you can, if you were to do something with more detail, you can add more water. That's me pushing the limits a little bit, because if it's runnier, it's gonna get more detail, things like that. If you're using, you can use this as more of a paste, and if you use less water, somebody could lay down, you could lay it over for a month. So it has kind of a give and take as far as how thick and what the consistency is, but I would say stick with the directions first. The casting alginate that I usually use is 1 to 1, and so then it's different every time you do it, depending on which alginate you get, where you get it from, how old the alginate is sometimes, but we'll get it to a consistency where you feel comfortable with it. So what we're gonna do is, I'll get you, so
You want him to go to the side?
I can do this. So what I want, what you want to be doing, I usually like to be, if you don't need help with a project, I like to do it alone. So if you were doing this yourself, you would go, I would mix all of this, right? I'd have an extra, can we have some water in this just for dunking a hand? So we're gonna put it in there. I like to do the alginate in there first and then add water. If you do it the opposite way, the alginate tends to float and it's tough to get it to mix in. So we're gonna put the alginate in. We're gonna do the water one at a time. You can put the alginate in. We're gonna wait to do the water. Put the water in, start mixing, and we'll add more water and we'll mix it. You don't want to mix this like you were beating like cake batter. You want to mix this kind of like slowly and make sure you're getting the clumps broken up. Because the faster you agitate it, the quicker it's going to set. And we don't necessarily want it to set very quickly. And that's definitely with the plaster, you almost don't want to do anything. When we put the plaster in, we're just going to be kind of twisting our hands around because it's water soluble and it's going to become plaster. Like it's going to become like cake batter anyways without really, pancake batter, not cake batter by itself. So we have that. So before we start, I'm going to say you're going to mix this. You mix it with your one hand, probably the one that you're not going to be putting in. And then with this water, when you have it to the consistency we want, with this water, can you put those over there? With this water, you're going to pre-dip your hand so it's just a little bit lubricated. And then we're going to put that in there. And then you'll probably need somebody to help you pour it. But I like to leave the mixing hand dirty with the cast on it. So when that on your hand is hard enough to be pulling away, you know that the inside of the mold's pretty much ready to be pulled. So that if you don't clean your hand immediately, you know how quick that's setting up. So most people will rub it off. And plus, alginate, for you guys that don't know, if you try to wipe it, it smudges everywhere. It's so much easier just to let it dry and then peel it off like a mask.
Oh.
So much easier. If you put it in your pants, it's just gonna be like wet muck all the time. It's just nasty. So just leave it on your hand, and then start peeling it off.
No, wipe your hands on it.
Okay, so when we do this, we'll have about 10 minutes.
Okay.
I would say we want to do like maybe 4 minutes of working time, maybe not even, and then we'll get it in there. So this has a little bit of water in it, which is fine, because then it'll be easy to slide that out.
Right.
Actually, no, we don't need this. Can you wipe this with paper towels? Like I said, because we're using the hand and the wrist is going to be where we're pouring it anyways, we don't have to pull the mold out of the mold box. You know what I mean? If I was to pull that out like a totally submerged item like this, I would pull it out, slice it down the side, take the object out. But his hand, he's going to actually just slide it out of the mold. All right, so you can start going in there.
And the ratio of this algae is 2 to 1?
This is 2 to 1, 2 parts water to 1 part.
It's like Jello.
Very good. Now you can just start mixing that around and we'll add water as we go. If you want to help him add the water. This was extra water, yeah. You can add more water right now as he's going. But you don't want to spill any of that water because we're in the correct mix. Okay, hold up on the water. You can mix it a little bit harder than that actually. And then some more water.
You don't have to worry about bubbles and all that stuff.
No, not very much so.
With the plaster.
The way that you put your hand in, you might want to.
Yeah, I would work it actually harder. This stuff's a lot different. Yeah, we don't want it. Okay, enough water, I think. And yeah, keep going. This stuff, I guess apparently you need to agitate pretty well. The consistence of this, it looks, you want to get the chunks out, but you're not, this is going to be chunkier than plaster will be ever, you know what I mean? So keep going, add a little bit more water.
So when you say chunkier, it looks like curdling?
See, it looks like it's curdling because the water's not fully, yeah, get in there and get after it. Yeah, a little bit more water. And this is totally fine, we might fail. And that's totally fine.
Then you figure out what you're doing wrong.
So, pull your hand out, does it look, yeah, that's getting pretty good. So mix it a little bit more and try and squeeze the clumps
You are
out
now
as
a
you go.
kitchen maid.
Alright. Let me see what your hand looks like. Still pretty clumpy. Keep going.
Do you want a whisk or like
Do we
a?
have a whisk? I don't know why, this stuff, yeah, maybe the whisk is good.
clean.
Maybe use a pour it out of the water.
Does it have clay in somewhere?
It's like a little
Yeah.
bit. Is that gonna corrupt it?
You want me to clean it with a?
No. What was the title of this thing was like Quick and Dirty or something? That's what we're doing right now.
This big ahead, I know.
Low brow way.
Yeah.
It's working.
Like I picked it up off my grandfather's shop floor and that's it. Alright, so now dip your hand and put it in there. And then I would say that dip this hand fairly in so that you get a little bit of detail on there. Yeah, put her in. And then put your hand in. Sorry. No, go ahead. I'll pour it for you.
Yeah, put your other hand in there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's your drawing again.
And I gotta let this
So
dry.
it doesn't matter that it's a little chunky?
It doesn't matter that this is chunky. Some sort of
Pour
straightener to
the
get
first
there after this.
algebra.
There was one here, hold on.
Never mind.
I got it.
So we have to work fast.
You want to work as fast as possible. Can you put your hand down a little bit more in there?
Is it touching the bottom or
As long
you
as it's
don't
not
want it to
touching
touch
the
the
bottom.
bottom, right?
With this mold, because we're not pulling it out, you can get closer to the sides. You know what I mean? And now get comfortable.
So once you feel it start to thicken, make sure you're not moving.
Do you want a chair?
at all.
Or does he can't?
Nah, I can't really.
All right, now
So do we have to wash
It's only
this
gonna
out
be
or
like
can we
that.
start the next one?
I would say wash this out because these chunks are going to harden.
Okay.
You can set your hand if it's,
My resting.
yeah, because otherwise you're dripping on the floor.
The clumps are really soft.
These are the molds they
You have to
created.
turn it on and then.
There's
Or we can use this.
Look at this.
This is Abel's office.
And by the way, I went to yours as a 97.
Should I use a sponge for that, Caleb?
Ready? Yeah, sure you can. Usually it's spray off.
You're doing it hand, right?
Yeah.
Are you feeling
Want to do that?
it?
I'll get started on mixing the next one.
Yeah. Well, stick.
All right, who's
Honest cheating.
what's up next?
Well, there's the 3 different
Oh,
outfits.
it's already.
She's also doing her hands.
That's 3 o'clock. That's only an hour and 10 minutes so far. That's fine. We'll get there.
Doesn't matter what kind of water.
The lukewarm is the best. More warm, it's gonna set quicker. Less warm, it's gonna.
That's a good question.
That is a great question. Sorry about not telling you. This one, why don't you pass me my other glass of water? I'll drink it, and then we will find out how much water needs to go in here. We'll do this one next, because it's a small one.
Smile.
Do we need to spray these or not?
Yeah, we might spray them
Spam?
with Spam, yeah, Spam. Canned meat, we're gonna spray these with canned meat.
You know what I'm saying.
There's still water on top of this. Perfect.
How are you?
Perfect, thank you.
Do you need me to dry it out?
Where is it?
I need another one of the small, we're losing it.
We don't need
We don't need that?
No,
On the object?
that's just for if you're pressing it in the clay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mix.
It does things.
Like that might be why it's so chunky, like, that's disgusting, like cottage cheese. You know what I mean, like.
Curdled cheese.
Mhm. So then, who's, that's you, okay. Why don't you, can we roll another one of those tables over here? And then I have that roll of plastic.
Want a chicken wing,
scrap
Professor?
Right there.
You gotta lift over.
You can get it with a real chicken wing.
What do you want?
Yeah, there you go. Cover that table with that.
With a real chicken wing, I put the real chicken wing in.
And then we'll get you
And then
mixed.
the egg, the chicken wing.
No, there's a bar over there. And,
Paper needed.
One box of the, another box of the Alger, please.
just got,
For yours.
oh, you put that was,
Yeah, these are, no, it's just one long.
Yeah.
I left it like, that's a start.
I can feel the setting up.
I can't feel it. Yeah, that's getting there. Yeah, we'll wait. I like to wait longer than I think, you know, like when you can take this on your hand and start rolling it back, see how it starts rolling back, but it's still wet. When it starts rolling back and it just peels off of the sheet, you know you're pretty good. So you have,
So this goes in there and covers it.
yeah, so what I did was I put a full one there. When we did his, we filled it with water, plunged his hand, whatever that spilt over, then we used that amount of water. We actually probably should have done a little bit more, you know? I try and, because you want to save as much, but you might ruin them. Like if you really wanted your wrist there, is it better to just like, I'll waste a little bit more material and I'll make sure that I have the wrist. You know what I mean? So it's like always a toss
You
up.
can always make it a hand, or you can make it a hand with wrist.
Right. And but and the mixing,
Well.
I'm always so tight that I want to keep it, like, especially with that stuff, like, oh man, but once I pour that, you don't pour another level,
There's an
you know what I mean?
exact
So you want to make sure.
exact enough?
This stuff is camera, we
Exact.
probably should have mixed more. So in yours, I did a whole cup, so even what's missing there is in there. So now we have 350 mils, so you want 175 mils, so right in between those of, not that one, that's the plaster, sorry. But we're gonna use that too, so we're gonna do Yeah, that stuff right there. So this is the alginate.
We don't
But
want
we'll
plaster
be
to
doing
get
this.
wet, so we should keep it
So
outside
then,
for now.
open that and
Once
just
it gets
slowly
wet,
put it.
That's-
once we use it.
175.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, almost 1 to 1.
And then, yeah, it's 2 to 1, 2 to 1. And then, if you wanna, can you clean that off? And we'll use that to mix yours. See, these ones look newer. I think you got the old, you got your shaft on that one.
Yeah, sometimes Pearl's supplies have been sitting there a little while.
Yeah, I would, if you're not uncomfortable, I would keep going.
I would keep going.
Yours,
Did you first?
and do that, we're gonna do, let's definitely do the lips.
Got it.
Got it?
Okay, wait, let it settle.
Let's, yeah, we'll do this perfectly. Let's do,
We mix a lot of alginate and pour it into a lot of mold.
that's what I'm thinking of which one we're ganging to, but I just wanna make sure that we're gonna get it in good timing. Cause we'll be able to pull his mixed plaster, put it in, the next one, and the next one, and the next one. This one's gonna be a big guy. I think that that's gonna be more than that, you think?
So we went over.
Yeah.
And then she still wants to do her hand.
Yeah. We,
With the baby.
Once his
Let's-
is-
The hand with baby?
let's do,
The piece baby.
that one.
I think it went over a
We
bit.
we'll use extra from yours, from
Well, we can
somebody's
put
to do
them back
yours.
in another cup, like,
It's
in
worked out
extra.
perfectly, hold it.
Let's,
It's right about right, isn't it?
okay, so we have 2 boxes left?
Yes, and a half.
And a half.
She didn't, you know, that's probably not even half of, that, she didn't even use half of that.
But you're doing your hand in one of these?
No, bit, but
In the big
Well,
one?
it doesn't have to be that big,
Can
right?
can you,
This is the one she had.
if you don't do your whole hand, like if you do your fingers and the baby or whatever, can you do it?
Well, this doesn't have to fill
Oh,
up all the
'cause
way.
you're not gonna
This
have
doesn't
enough
have to fill up all the
plaster,
way
okay.
because it's,
Did it work in
Yeah.
this? Did your hand fit in this one?
no, if you wanted to do less plaster.
There's a whole.
No, less
Oh, okay.
algae. Plaster, we have.
well, what's your position of your hand? Because the, if you do it more,
If you do it more, if your fingers aren't sticking out, then we can use less plaster, you know what I mean? Or less algae.
How do you do that one, like lay it flat?
Well, that one's not gonna, no, because we're gonna pour plaster into that one.
Oh, you already have peace sign already? You want to do a peace sign?
Yeah, let it dry
yeah,
a
it's
little
fine,
bit,
we should.
little bit more.
So is this how they make masks for like Michael Jackson's Thriller and stuff?
Yeah, but they use a much higher quality alginate. I don't use high quality alginate.
You have a map of someone's face, like an
Yeah.
actual person.
Well, you can do a lot of things, plaster bandage, you can do, the problem with plaster bandage is that it gets really hot. It's a chemical reaction, so it gets hot on their face. With the alginate, you can wait till it's a lot more chunky and then lay it on. Depending on, the more chunky it is, the less possibility of you getting really, really fine detail. Why don't you start mixing yours? Pour this right in there and then whisk it.
Is the alginate breathable?
One, basically.
Does it? or not?
Usually you have a straw in their mouth, or you
No,
leave
it's
that,
2 water
you
to
leave
1
that till last.
Oh,
Or
no,
you-
no, I understand that, but
It's
can your
that
skin
make it
breathe
right.
through the alginate, or?
No, it's like you,
It's like
like
an
it's
extra
real,
rubber?
like you get sweaty underneath of
Okay.
it, you know what I mean? And the water is coming out of the alginate as well, so you're getting both.
Yeah, you're gonna do-
Maybe we might not do this one if we don't have enough alginate. So let's do this and that. That's one.
You wanna go even rapidly.
Do you need to start?
Oh my gosh, here, just, wait, don't lose material. Okay.
Yeah, just put it all in there, it'll be fine. How much is in that one? Half
I wanna
box?
like
And one
try
down.
and.
Let's
we don't
do-
want the water to come out.
Let's do the half box.
I'm wondering if I should just use
And
this
the-
hand.
Well, yeah, it might be. better
And the
to
whole
use your
box?
hand instead of
There you go.
this.
Oh, you gotta do her hand too. Oh, I have alginate, I brought alginate. Where did I put it then?
Get a whole,
Sorry, it's in this.
whole box and a half, 1.5.
Awesome. We're good. I brought,
Oh, that's what was getting all over?
that was what was getting all over. So let's
Is that
do,
2 to, how much is that?
this one's 1-to-1, I believe, but
1-to-1.
I'll mix it by eye for that one. So we're gonna do yours,
Okay,
do the,
do one, Wanna make it
Because we're gonna do hers and
at the
yours.
same time, yeah. Okay.
What else? How is that?
It's a knob.
I would say, yeah, break those up, break those
that's just
chunks
to
up,
hold it up
and
because
start getting
It's
in
like
there.
that.
When you pour it, if you want it, that's gonna be kinda chunky, but
piece
if you're
of
pouring it runnier,
It's a sculpture.
if you pour it into the bottom and let it slowly rise, it's gonna push the air bubbles out as it goes up. So you don't wanna just dump it over your piece, but something small like this,
Do you
yeah,
need-
you wanna get that.
Does that need more
that-
water, or
that-
is it already sitting?
Um,
It might just not have enough water.
I think it might just not have enough water. Put here, a little bit more water,
Some
and
of
mix
it
it.
splashed out a little bit, but.
then mix it like crazy.
Can I just put this
Okay,
down?
so put,
You gotta,
no,
no,
just
don't.
put your hand in there. You're gonna-
Yeah, you
just
gotta,
hurry
you got
up
time.
and put your
Okay.
hand.
We are gonna do a box, and this is more than half of the box.
Do you remember how many ounces you did from that?
I did.
It's 175
Right.
milliliters
Let's
of powder.
let's do, which one? I think this is gonna need about more than that. I say do this half box, half and a
Yeah.
full for yours.
This is
And
half.
One half like
that's the half and that's the full?
Yeah.
It has to become
Okay,
metric.
Let's go.
500
so let's do, you're gonna do mix a full batch for yours, a full bag for yours.
Well, hers and mine too, right?
And yeah, you'll be able to fill hers. And yours is gonna be a full bag. You're just doing a full bag. You're gonna mix the full bag in the half. So you're gonna want this, that,
He's falling over.
So together,
Stay.
with a share.
Okay,
Yeah, he's like.
so how much water do we need?
It says, it's 2 to 1, so I don't know what's the other.
This is 500,
I can just hold it now.
now.
500
now-
grams.
It'll stay.
You say with water?
I'm sorry,
20 ounces?
you gotta get metric.
Don't let me come out here.
Well, 500
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so that it's 1,000
It's gonna
grams.
be good. A whole bag and two of these.
Two of these.
Two waters.
For what?
Because
For this?
And
for,
then
no,
two
for
of
his,
these.
for this and that.
Oh.
A full, yeah, that thing only comes up to 750, but do two full ones of these.
Up, and when you say
Right up to
full,
the top.
right up to the
Of
top.
water?
Yes, of water.
So can I put it in here, we're gonna mix it in this?
Yeah, mix it in that. That's fine. You can, wherever it goes, you can dump that in after.
So they should
We're gonna put that in there.
This has metric.
You are the best! You know that already, though. Okay, this is here, this is metric. I don't know.
Was that an Canadian joke? or-
Yeah,
And 2 of those.
and two of those. Okay, I'll be right there.
And then for the deer, we are doing the half and the full, so you're doing, three things of water and then 1.5 of the bags. And then what other one do we have to do another hand? And the beer can.
Did anyone like totally forget about you, or are you?
How are you doing? What does this look like? That's pretty good. Go for it. Let's tug towards you for a little, couple more minutes. Alright.
Come on,
Yeah, I think it's barely.
don't back up.
You ready?
Here we go.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
is this the half or
Yeah,
just?
that's the half.
That's the
Ready?
half.
That's a full bag, yeah. So
That's a full bag? Okay,
Waters.
put one water in, get it mixing, and as it's mixing, just keep adding the other. This is not an exact science, as you're seeing right now.
Around.
For you, I'm gonna do, we just gotta make sure that this goes. You need to put her in high gear there, Hammer.
Oh, well,
There you go.
for the rest of
We
your.
need a kitchen in here.
That's probably.
I know.
Is that-
I'll switch off with you.
And that's where it's-
Would it ever get really like smooth? Would it ever get really smooth? But you
Yeah,
don't
if you have a
wanna
smooth object, it'll be smooth.
No, I mean, as far
I
as the
think,
bumps.
like, when I mix this one, you'll see it's a little bit smoother. That's old too, so I can't say that. But these things, they were from like Michael's or something, the algae.
Oh, pearl.
Pearl, so they might sit there for years.
Yeah, I don't know.
You never know.
The pearls is like the 50s, something.
See, you're getting it, that one's a little bit better.
Options.
So this one, you're gonna,
Yeah.
All those together, yeah.
when you pour that in, let's pour it a little bit more liquid, like it is right now.
Is it good?
Yeah, you wanna pour it down, I'm gonna try and pour it into the back. So if I'm gonna do this, I'll squeeze it down and try and get to the back corner like that. So as you come up, it comes up around it and hopefully pushes the air out.
Uh-huh.
And because we gotta go under that one, I'm gonna leave it a little bit high. Put this one in here.
Go on the sides first, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna do no wall of tadpoles.
You can do it very quick.
You're kidding me?
Morning.
We don't have
Exactly, for my child development class. See if she'll take that.
Are you thirsty?
What are you trying to? Well, we can do half of it. Can you do half of it?
What do you do?
So it doesn't seal to itself if you pour more on top.
What about hers?
Can I do a finger?
Yeah, I'll do a finger. Oh, we can try to see.
There's a scraper. Where's it? Where's the scraper?
It was a wood.
You were born with them.
Yeah.
Alright, somebody, I'm gonna torture somebody here for a little
Want
while.
me to put a hand in?
If you wanna do a hand, or somebody can hold the beard hand in there,
I'll
like
hold your
this.
hand. My son will be so proud of me.
Shit.
Don't let it go. Never drop.
You gotta be able to hold it.
You gotta hold it for-
It's,
Now you're across there, dude.
You
Yeah.
may
Yeah.
want to.
well, it's not set yet,
Um,
let's move it closely.
Perfect. It's pretty awesome.
It's not touching the bottom, right? You didn't let it
Yeah,
go
no,
all the
no,
way
it's
down?
not.
So it is, okay, I guess it's a matter. It is 2 millimeters.
Somebody wanna-
Oh,
Does somebody wanna clean this other, bucket out?
This one?
Yeah.
so cool.
This element really set up.
What's that?
His or?
Well, no.
Just let the tongue out, just let the tongue sit in there, we'll straighten them out after. We don't want them down in the drain. Yours,
Well, you can't get hurt.
It's seaweed.
perfect. Yeah, it's seaweed based.
And then the bubbles bubble out of it?
You're gonna be good
It's like
here.
plastic. Similar to plastic.
We are going to, he's cleaning the bucket. You're gonna need 3 of these full of water. We are going to mix for you at the same time. Ben, you got that? You can help her mix that and pour that one. I'll mix mine.
I'm gonna dry a little longer, you'll have some.
We're gonna mix
Do you remember the
for
game Beat the
Oh,
Clock?
no.
your hand, we'll do your hand right now, but we're gonna mix it with my stuff. But it's gonna be by eye, it's not gonna really be by.
Because last semester we had a testing workshop, and there were like 20 people at first, but there were so many the demonstration went so long, there was only like 5 people at the end, and it went like 4 hours.
What is that other, does this stuff feel really? This stuff's more like flour.
There's a
flour,
smaller box that hasn't been opened yet.
And this is more like,
They got a trainer.
it's like, yeah, like confectioner sugar or whatever that is.
You
Yeah.
got a trainer?
No, I was just trying to differentiate between.
I don't know if this
Plus-
one's any newer.
That one smells bad, and this one kind of smells like bubble gum when you mix it.
This one was a different box, I don't know if it's newer or not.
Oh, is it the same kind?
Yeah,
Okay.
same brand, it's just.
Alright, we'll mix that one in with hers. So this is the other, we have this and that, put that in there,
So this is just for the.
just for that, yeah. And if we have anything else left over, we'll do a finger or something.
We'll do it.
Well, this really worked well.
Do we have another mixing implement?
What, do you need like a stick or something?
Over there in that,
It's a rod. Spatula could work, I guess.
Like this the paint stirrer.
Yeah, sure, we'll try that.
Yeah, there we go.
Alright, it's gonna be on the night.
That's intimidating.
Should be interesting.
Printing another one, maybe? I make two.
Right.
Josh is like, forget about it.
No,
Well, it's interesting,
It's better
it's like
safe
someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Yeah, it could be though.
Yeah.
As soon as we get the mold done, we'll pull yours and we'll start doing the plastic.
It's already come away from your wrist a little bit.
Yeah, if you want to, if you can start moving your fingers just a little bit, and you can feel.
This one's almost set.
Don't move it.
Yeah.
You gotta walk on yours still. 'Cause
The fingers are gonna be pretty tight, yeah.
Setting your lungs as a breather.
it's yeah, it's
Doing
just
fast
seaweed.
for
It's
long
just
time.
made from seaweed. It's not.
Let's go have some sushi now.
I like mixing it with my hand, because then, just like plaster, because then you get a feel for it. But you see how this stuff's chunky, but it's soft? I don't know. It lost its smell. I'm a liar.
Yeah, you get your hopes up, yeah.
Let's go to KitchenAid.
Alright, so do you know how you're gonna hold
So fast,
it?
so
All the way around
fast.
the edges.
Dunk the hand you're holding it in that,
In my bucket.
and we're using that bucket, right? But
This
no,
one.
wet the hand a little bit that you're gonna be putting in there, yeah. Alright, and then right here.
Does this need to be cleaned out or anything?
Yeah, just dunk, in the, yeah, dunk it here. Alright, this is good. Alright, ready? I'm gonna pour it in here and you're just gonna slowly dunk your hand in afterwards.
But yeah, you gotta know your position.
Yeah.
And just don't push your fingers all the way to the bottom.
Down there.
Yeah, down over here, you gotta get to the corner. What's your name? Rose? Not gonna call you KitchenAid, Rose. Okay, you gotta see it's over in the,
Yeah, there you
there
go.
you go. I got it?
There goes that baby.
Listen,
If you can see more on the, you have to look at the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can touch the bottom to see how close you are, but you
Just a
wanna.
minute, I'll mix a little bit more.
Is it,
Do you want me
is
to
it on the bottom of the
scoop or
floating
anything?
about?
this is not the baby. This is cool, this is
I mean,
set.
you're.
The fingers are touching the bottom?
Yeah, I'm not getting it already, so please.
Yeah, you gotta wait to.
Let me know.
It
if
looks
you're
like
gonna
arm
say
press.
something.
Yeah, let me know.
My husband's
You
gonna
get arm
say,
press.
what are you doing now? Ooh, purple?
Maybe a little
That's
bit,
pretty.
much more.
Little lavender tinge to it.
This is artisanal.
Oh, I like yours. What brand is that?
Bubble gum.
What's the top say? Danielle's Don't Touch or something?
No, Becky Chamberlain.
Becky
Do not
Chamberlain?
move.
Do not move.
Becky Campbell.
Do not move.
I repurposed the container that was in the garbage.
Yeah, why would you throw a Tupperware container?
Yeah, you wanna keep your hand
Container.
just by your body, because you don't wanna let it float out. You wanna be pretty stiff about where it is.
Alright,
What else do we
you wanna
have?
see how close you are to the bottom? Yeah.
You want like an inch? You want a bottom?
Because you wanna get.
Yeah, you wanna be closer. Like I said, because we're just pulling this out.
Do you know up in New York, they don't
Fine.
have polio tropical?
How are you doing? I think you should be pouring that in there.
Polio tropical.
That should-
Good, I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, that's good.
I think this one's set.
In here?
Really? Does it, will it sink? Oh, we're good, leave it. See, we're getting the hang of it. We're getting the hang of it. I promised myself I would know how to cast after I gave you this demo.
Glad we can help you.
How high am I pouring this? Oh no,
Go for
we're
it.
cutting it. Okay,
Yeah, you just need to pour it all
So you
over.
get the air out of it.
Hopefully we don't have to mix more. Does it go over top?
Well, it
I think
should.
we have a lot more than we need actually.
Okay, somebody,
We've got this for, well, it needs
No,
to make
it's
sure
gotta
it's
go
covered
over
by
there.
half an inch at least.
Oh, half an inch.
Yeah, you got it perfect.
Yeah, you want her-
There.
You can't, you gotta have,
Yeah,
You get
that's
more.
perfect in there.
Doesn't
he
get
knew
warm.
what he was doing. Yeah, there's just barely enough probably, because of that ear still sticking up there. Hold on.
well, the ear, we could pour down through the ear, actually. If that ear,
You wanna
is
The
that
ear's
good?
just barely sticking up.
Yeah, we'll pour down through the ear. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, what do you have to pull it out
The
of
pillow
there?
looks like plastic, right?
Well, let's pour just.
Okay, get the rest of it
scrape
out
this
of
Consciously.
What else do we,
Is that it?
is that it? We have everything mixed up?
I meant to take his jacket off.
That's it, yeah.
Okay,
Clay friend.
Where's the other one?
let's pull you out of there.
Mine.
Sorry, what's your name?
Oh, you want
Slowly work it out, it doesn't matter if it's stairs there, but just pull
Oh,
slowly.
there
Look how cool that is. Oh, we need a picture though.
No, I didn't get a video.
Oh, put your hands back
Gary,
in.
you're zombie, aren't you?
This stuff on the top, when it hangs like that, it's gonna be a little bit deformed. Any of the stuff that is, you're gonna lose a little bit of detail, but you're gonna gain depth in there.
Okay.
See, the bottom of the hand, because we didn't get quite enough in there, see,
Right, it doesn't.
it hangs a little bit, but when you pour the plaster in,
See, that has a lot of air bubbles in it though.
Yeah.
That's gonna be weird.
Freckled
freckle
in.
in, because there's like an air bubble like right here.
It'll be a happy accident.
I think that's the honest
That's where the comments.
Knew I shouldn't have went too long. But when we fill that up with plaster, the density of the plaster is also going to raise that a little bit, so it'll pull it back.
If it's,
Yeah. Okay,
These
one more.
ones? Yeah, we can do something else if you want.
Is it good?
Jam rope in, or?
What else do we have?
there's the Coca-Cola bottle, or,
Where do you have it? Yeah, you got it.
Sorry.
I'll do a finger.
Yeah.
Bring your hand in there?
Yeah.
You don't fit?
Well, whatever we can. What do we have?
A holding, another holding object.
Sorry, this is going to be dirty, but
oh, it's not a rare bottle.
run it through the dish.
Is this, why is it?
Yeah, I think we'll just use this one.
This feels like.
And then, so we'll mix some more of this up. In this one.
I don't think it's.
For that, and somebody said they wanted to do a hand too. We're running out of time though, right?
No, I said a finger instead of that, but.
Oh, a finger instead
With
of
what
that?
you have left, so whatever, it's okay.
How many things do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, I think everybody
Might as well
fits.
let-
Yeah.
That's the
I thought you got like enough, more mix. I don't hear so.
There you go. Yeah, I'll send you the bill.
Right.
And you said I could, it was set.
Well, I wouldn't pull it out.
Oh, no, yes.
This is really, when you do it enough, you'll get it to where it mixes and you're like, it's like pancakes, so like, oh, that's good enough, you know? It's really not an exact science, whereas like the rubber, like you want to be on by weight almost identically, you know what I mean? Because like then the consistency, it tears differently, and it doesn't.
But it's sort of
Oh, Taylor, I do have one question.
Yes.
Is this okay to let go down the sink?
No, I'll just scoop it out.
Keep the chunks there and then you scoop it out.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Oh, we have this, your maple leaf.
We're gonna just pour plaster right in the open mold. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The clay is replacing the algae.
The clay is replacing the alginate because you can press into it. That's a little too deep really to press the clay because you see it tears a little bit. But I think if you were more careful and maybe we put maybe I'll do that. Well, can you get another piece of that ready?
If you do your release
And I'll do the release.
because it was sticking a little
Yeah.
bit, so.
If you can get one more piece of clay ready, and then I'll spray the thing with release, and we'll do it that way.
Wait, do you want to get rid of this one? Or?
Yeah. Oh no, we could pour that one too, but let's do one right next to it,
Oh, okay.
and I'll try it to make it nicer. You all right?
What's a deeper, go to the deeper impression?
Stay attached to your fingers, you know, got grasp of it.
water?
That's just too runny. It's still
Okay.
gonna.
It takes longer to
I mean,
set.
if it's like really bad, it's gonna be, there'll be no consistency. It'll be really easy to tear.
Okay.
Whoops. Throwing things at you guys. See, now this might not, because that's starting to set up, these might not stick to each other. But we'll figure it out. Oh no, it mixed. So it starts hardening in here. You can actually take it and crush your hand on it like sand, and you can make like the inside of your hand. You know what I mean? So when you open it up, it'll just be like you took clay and crushed.
Oh, I got it.
But it's a cool way to see the detail that pulls.
When you're
I got it.
So somebody just let this start setting up, and then you guys can grab a handful of it. All right.
Here.
We gotta do it on your clean hand.
Yeah, do it on your clean hand.
Want to spray it first with double?
No, don't, that's only for the clay.
I need to still set it just a little bit more.
He's saying to where you can start to peel out and just put it in your hand, you know? Right now it's.
If you guys, if you're doing something for production, you'd go a lot slower. You'd be putting more focus on the exact piece you're doing. You'd pour it, like if you're doing your hand, I would say mix it really thin and dip your hand in first. And like hers might come out better because she slowly dipped her hand in. Like we poured yours in, that kind of stuff was kind of chunky. The more time you spend in them, and like, everybody thinks they can do a mold and they're gonna do it the first time. You might do 4 molds and just say, these molds did not work. I'm gonna go and buy another package and make it perfect. Because once you make that mold, it's there forever and you got it. You might as well make it perfect, you know what I mean? This saves you a lot down, like making more perfect chicken wing molds saved me so much time later in finishing bronze and cutting and grinding and things like that, that it's not
Time
worth
is
it,
money.
you know what I mean? This one. And for my next trip,
Help the tab.
yeah, Tasman.
You're gonna have a beer in there?
Maybe. It's pretty good. There's some air bubbles in there, so you can see the tab. Saved. Put it in the fridge.
You could have drank it anyway, because you say it's food safe.
Let it cool down a little bit.
Yeah. You could
Let it
drink
cool down a little
Good
bit. And you could drink, pour the beer in the can, the alginate can cup, and drink it out of there.
Nothing goes to waste.
We're taking this to
No
another
waste.
conceptual level. It's just, let's start doing some plaster.
His hand?
For his hand, your thing.
So we just leave this in here?
Is
You mean like go
did
to the
we do
cup?
yours before we did the beer can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do you have that
Scissors.
Exacto?
Exacto. Now I don't care that I'm cutting into the alginate because we're going to cut it anyways. But I do want to keep it fairly straight. And then once you get air all the way around it,
Did you pull some out?
it should be able to
Oh,
pop right out. And then now, so what we're going to do is, I'll use this piece of flex here. When you make this mold, we're making it quickly. If you were doing it for production and you knew where you wanted your seam line, I would draw it on the outside of your cup so that now, once you pull it out, you knew, okay, even by the registration there, 12. Okay, then I knew that this was there. But with this, we're just going to cut down. So that's the clay right there. We're going to cut in and slowly work our way down halfway. I can feel it a little bit in there. But because the alginate is fairly forgiving, I'm just going to slowly slice it. I usually use a longer blade. This is fine. And actually the alginate can tear. We went the long way. It tilted the other way.
And you only want,
Hiding.
You pull out the clay and it goes down the hole.
Oh my God, it's way over on the other side. Oh, that's the head of it right there.
aww.
That's fine. It's fine. This is, the sperm is birthing out of the algae right now. Like, there's the head, oh my God, oh.
Oh.
That's gonna pour absolutely fine. So now what we do,
Done for. Where you threw it out of there.
Oh, because it's that whole thing, you tape it.
so we'll pour down through the top here. See, this is where where the clay would have been my pour hole already, but because it detached from the clay, we're gonna have to pour it the other way. So I'm gonna look generally cut without cutting yourself, please.
Just a core hole?
Yeah, 'cause I want it to stay together. We should probably do it bigger than that.
Even though the cup's been cut through on the side, it won't.
Yeah, because we can, like I twisted it so that the other thing's the other way, and then we'll tighten it down in. So if you want to make that hole bigger, maybe like out there, we'll tighten that one back down together. That one's ready to go. You got that there. Where's the top? Is right there? Okay, yeah, we'll be able to do that. We gotta get that out of there. This one's fluttery.
That's the dawn of light.
Flubbery.
No,
Flubber is not a real thing. I
Oh,
look at
yes,
everyone.
it is. Flubber is
was
real.
invented
Jerry
in a
Lewis.
movie.
That's
Flubber.
right. Boing.
Very flubbery.
Here, if you wanna take this.
Like I said to the professor, remember the show Beat the Clock?
I don't
There
know.
was a show
I
Beat the
know.
Clock.
So now with this one, we
Dessert. This thing's so hungry.
have a technical.
Yeah, it's what's like flying. Isn't it little?
Yeah, blonde. I love blonde.
You want bigger?
Here's another.
Yeah, a little bit. That's fine. Okay. So this one, I think that we can, like with the top of the hand there, that might sink down a little bit, but I'm hoping usually with the plaster volume, it kind of pulls that back up. Just because it's,
Hand position, did you?
Put it at the bottom of
Okay,
it.
so you didn't curl fingers?
yeah,
over?
it shouldn't, it's the bottom, so it shouldn't
So
matter.
it should fill in
Well, right, yeah, because like,
the air bubble.
the last time, yeah, they didn't,
I think it
the
did.
plaster was too
Poured
thick
it,
to, yeah, I think they forgot to tell them.
See,
to, like,
these are up.
turn it when
difficult
they were
off,
pouring
but,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
What happens if you cut both ways?
You want to cut as little as possible, because then all four, if you cut it 4 ways, they're all gonna want to sag down.
You were here for that
So
one.
what I'm
right?
gonna say,
Yeah,
Are you learning?
Get it
new-
going.
I haven't done
You
it.
can feel it moving in there. It's like,
Okay.
then you try and get it.
We want to
Take it out.
Let's watch YouTube videos, I'll try getting it.
But I'll try actually do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, but I just.
Such a great material
Yeah,
to
it's-
experience it.
It's very
Molds are
fleshy,
completely-
like.
like they did the
Like
wood,
a
which a
cold
lot of people don't
salmon.
know how to do, like the walls, yeah, the
Can I have one of those tongue compressors over there?
Yes, doctor.
Easy way.
Right.
Wow.
Let's see how that goes.
Wow.
We'll see how that one goes. That might be cool, actually.
Are you gonna?
Then we're gonna pour just, we'll mix a bunch of plaster and we'll dip cups and pour them for the small things. What else do we have? We have this thing.
Yeah, my lips.
All right. So, how much, we need to do this.
You don't have
Oh,
to.
you don't have a deli, it's more for you, like you might have to go somewhere, you know, but
Can you
like,
open it up?
we don't have to.
Yeah, I think,
May I use your,
We don't have to
what,
get
your
out of
oil
it.
spray?
Yeah, go ahead, just lightly.
Yep.
Doesn't need very much. I think,
Should we wipe everything out of this material?
It's 10 to 4.
Out of all these? Yeah, we'll clean them out anyways, yeah. But all of this solids go in the garbage, please. Then the cups, those can be reused, so that's, I use those hundreds of times. I would say that we should probably leave it
Okay.
and try and break this away. Usually the
Yeah, like it.
Just detaches.
depends on if we bought the good super, or the good hot glue, or
Exactly.
too good.
It is.
It's
Do
mine.
you want me to cut away at the exact enough, like, try to?
Let me see if I can.
Strike it once, right?
You gotta get the brown turd up there.
Slides right
So the lips were in here, right? Like they're in.
Yeah, they're facing down.
Facing down? So this is the clay side.
Yeah,
that's not the
it's
part
this way,
where-
right?
Yeah. We're gonna get it up in there?
Just because if we cut the other side, it's easier to get them out. If we cut the other side, you have a part line on the lips, and you don't want a part line on the lips.
But the lips, can you do it down the, I guess you could never find that though.
Is that true?
You mean to
Could
like
never
you're talking about
design it.
carving a hole down?
Never.
You're talking about like
Right
carving a
across the
hole down?
line of the.
I'm just gonna do one. I'm just gonna do one side, and hopefully we can pull them out.
The lips coming out.
Great.
Oh my god.
So then we're gonna go
Open back in.
Did you get the thing
Oh,
out?
well.
cliffing. Did you took the clay out? It doesn't matter. It's at the bottom.
That's poop.
Oh, wow, I didn't think that was.
Every bed.
And then what we're gonna do is,
Upside down.
that's gonna be pretty good. I would say, yeah, that was right on. I surprised myself. That was fun. This one, there's a lot of,
The further's her hand over.
oh yeah, how are you doing?
Like, get you these lips. Every student in the first day of class, you give them lips.
Yeah, I want to there too.
Let's give you, how long do you think it's been?
Oh, wait, more? Did you do it after?
Coffee.
This is the last one that we did? This is the, before this very last one?
Like,
So it's 24. What's kind of now?
It's 353. No, but I remember with her, the sperm
Wow.
that she was doing over here,
That's
were
pretty
you
good.
after that?
I was up there.
I don't remember what that was.
See, this one,
Wow, it's the
Like
base.
you remember
one
he
has the
did
base,
theirs
you can
too, and then he like
Happy
had
to throw that one on the table.
Sorry.
Poor little baby.
sorry.
No, it didn't break. It didn't break.
You can have a million of them now.
Well, no, the algae only lasts for a few
Oh, when I get
hours
started.
at most. That's the thing, that's why he's saying if you want to keep using a mold, you have to buy a more expensive material, but alginate is only good for maybe 3/4.
Something bad here. It's the,
Well, the ears, like,
Undercut,
the ears are like-
the head.
sort of like that.
Well, the head goes to the side, so.
Well, the head does twist, huh?
The head's over here, right?
Right, but the, I wasn't thinking about the ears being
yeah,
back.
Oh.
It might just.
Oh, they're like that, right? They're not out, they're behind us. It's a dollar.
The head is, oh.
Oh,
Oh, it's those. Alright, see how it looks like we messed up and there's some rips in there? You should be able
It's
to
gonna be a
squeeze that
little,
back together.
It's gonna be.
Do a beard now.
Yes, he's gonna go tea now.
it's artsy, you know, it's picnic.
you're a mascot.
The nice thing about tears in these things, when you pour plaster, it's gonna be extra flashing, so you can sand it off and still be perfect. It's not like a void that you have to fill, you know what I mean?
You want to vacuum stuff anyway.
Right, you have to sand it anyways to make it nice, so.
You want those, right?
So instead of pouring
Yeah,
plaster
thank-
into this, we
I'm
could
just
just pour
taking a
clay.
picture of this so I remember what it is, even though I can use Cali, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's that little.
This is a slice of.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna have a little bit of it's gonna have like
Have you
a.
eaten any of this yet?
No, it's not bad. I'm not gonna eat it.
So again, what's the advantage of doing it this way rather than using plaster mold?
It's quicker.
It's quicker.
The plaster mold you're gonna make, because this gives so much, you would never be able to pull your hand out of plaster. It would be in there, you'd have to break it away. The plaster mold, because it's so hard and you put so many finishes, you'd have to do it in multiple part molds. So you would fill to the halfway point with clay, make some indentations, pour half, pull that apart, lube that up, pour the other half, and then pull them apart, and then put them back together. So it might be like a full day process for that. Whereas if you were doing just this beer can, you could be done really in however long your clay or your plaster can dry. So.
And if you're doing a body part, it can get too hot and it's not.
Yeah, the plaster gets really hot because it's a chemical,
Yeah.
like this is chemical
Gets
reaction,
warm.
but it's organic, where that's like two chemicals getting really hot and then getting hard because of the heat and it's
Your
generating.
hair sticks in it,
Oh, yeah.
you might not get the same detail.
I have a question with the plaster. When you use plaster, where do you purchase the plaster from? Do you go to Home Depot?
Pearl, no, you wanna go to the arts,
I have-
Depot does not have good plaster.
Yeah, if it's something like, if you want something dirty, like, yeah, you could use it, but it's clumpy, doesn't, like, if you're pouring a slip cast mold of clay, you want it as fine and nice as
Oh, well,
possible.
I'm using it to make band boxes. It's a plastic box that you put plaster at the bottom, and then you can put your clay in it
Oh, to
and
keep-
moist.
then you can use that because it's not for any detail or anything.
No, it's not for
But
that.
even then, I would use the plaster of Paris. Like, if they sell plaster of Paris, most Home Depots do.
It might be cheapest online, actually.
The only problem online is you have to pay for shipping, and because it's heavy.
Well, if you're buying a lot of stuff, you just do it on Amazon and do
Well-
$25 free shipping.
This is the top.
I think.
Well, not for us, just if you buy over $25.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is it?
Can I save it?
Slide that down in there and tape it so that it takes up that gap. We should probably take that. And I should probably take the clay over the top of that. Let's see what it looks like with the clay in there. It's gonna be a plug, so if you carve the clay out of the plaster, then the bottle top will be open actually.
Yeah, it'll be indented.
And like that's, if you're making slip, like, if you wanna make hollow casts, you could make, they call that, it's not a buffer, they call it, there's a certain term for a void inside of a cast piece, like if you're doing like an engine block or a cylinder head or something, it's they call it drip, it's the slug inside that keeps it hollow, But the multiple bolts are needed to that to get out. I mean, in the automotive casting industry of that, it's some sort of a meltable material, so when they melt out, when they pour the molten material in, the molten material actually melts that out by itself, so it's slug. They have that.
You put a finger in there, right?
Yeah. We should get this set up so that we can just pour, like, have that set somewhere, so we can just pour it out to make that hole. Yeah, so we can just like a weird triangular pour, and then it'll be flat. It's gonna be like really weird. Weird is good. Weird is good. All right, so I'm gonna get. I think you should be good. Let's pull this away from here.
Can you wiggle your?
Can you wiggle your fingers a little bit, and then just a little bit. Just like when you go back and forth. there, just, yeah, see how you get air around it? There you go. And if it's easier, you can let the baby go and just pull your hand up and then we'll get the But I'm not going into the baby after. You can give it some, because it's going to want to, the only thing holding in there is friction against your hand, so just keep pulling. Yep, there we go.
Hey. Where is it?
Alright.
It's like really in
You
there?
gotta do, you gotta do,
Oh.
are you keeping the baby?
Oh, no,
Let's pour it that way, and it'll be embedded in the plaster. When we pull that out, the plaster will have that plastic baby stuck in it. Do you want it that way, or you want the baby to be plaster? Let's try it. Let's try it. See what it does.
Oh, no, you should totally pour it and keep the
It's in
original
there.
baby.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
oh, so it wouldn't be covered, it wouldn't be lost. It wouldn't be like covered in plastic so you can't see it
No,
anymore?
it'll just be capped with plaster, so it's actually embedded into the piece. It'll look like,
like it's coming out of the hand?
it'll look like,
Well, how did you have it in your fingers though? It was like right in here?
yeah, so the plaster will hold it in there.
Yeah, I just was wondering if it would cover it so you only see like a little bit of it, you know what I mean? Like-
A little bit of baby.
No, because you only see like, there's only a little tip and then that back. So you're actually gonna see the head sticking out when it'll be in the plaster. I think we should try
think we should try
that.
it, yeah.
We should try that.
I've got more of those.
This one's ready?
No, they give them away at, the like crisis pregnancy centers or whatever. They're basically examples of 10-week fetuses.
So we're gonna pour here,
Oh, okay, one.
there, or there, or here and here. Here. We need, pour there. And where's the hand?
Which hand?
Losing it. I'm losing it.
There's one hand.
I thought you said this was food safe. It's getting in my head.
Alright, we're gonna do
He wants us to keep the
This-
cable together.
Bring the two.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna come off the table.
right over here?
Yeah, let me do that press mold.
You want to bring it over?
Quick.
The
yeah.
release.
Yeah, bring it over there.
Oh, you know what? Let me get I'm gonna get the cut the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get the wire.
That one's, can we put that on a piece of flex?
Yeah, get the wire.
I'll go get a wire.
And then I'll put it on, do you have a free piece of flex here? I'll just put it on a piece of flex.
Well, do you want board or?
Yeah, board is fine. Let's do boards.
Right there.
We can do them both on one, right?
Yeah. Totally like, party it out.
Lips.
Overall, good selection of items.
A weird selection of items. Oh, that's perfect. That's sculpture right there. Done.
Ben's a sculptor.
Like, I don't know, it's like, what would you call it, like a fort or something, I don't know, like a,
That's the title.
yeah, this is,
Wait, you have to throw the baby hand.
or like,
Which way is warm? Do you want something to put that on? Oh, you have this
Yeah.
one? Okay.
The left handle is the, I mean, you just say, come on and play. Yeah. So
Oh, no,
that's
let me,
the bottom.
get the other one.
It's not hot at all. It might take a minute, I don't know how much hot water they have. But I mean, these probably get warmer, that one's a special one.
I'm gonna try that.
So that's one for like,
level as possible.
rinsing out things. Air can in there with like, coffee sorted.
Can I put this on that too?
Yes,
You need like a,
just something like a.
like one of these thingies?
Yeah, there's no lukewarm water here.
No lukewarm, it's only cold?
Yeah, we only have cold heating.
Alright, it'll just take longer for the stuff to set. How much do you think of volume
I would
do you have there?
There's,
What,
it won't fit in the other things, cause, this water is not
batches for the lawn. Like,
as
can we do a half a bucket?
Oh, you know, if you want to.
well,
Half a bucket of
it
water
might be easier if we
makes.
just fill it.
That'll work.
It's
You can, that's an arm
Less than
that
that.
can read the water.
I know, it just wasn't, it's like,
5
Not
gallon
fast
bucket.
enough?
well, it kind of
You
sprays
use
the
the
water.
water?
It's easier just to fill it all.
Not my fault.
There you go.
You took a picture of that, right?
Well,
Yeah, they make a bunch of different ones. There's the universal one, it's called, instead of 200, it's universal release and it's the cheapest. This one works specifically with that cast plastic.
what was
Might
it?
screw. I found this before. Just keep doing this. I wonder what the wind might play. I'll find it. On the floor.
Why don't you do the
So wait,
rubber
this is-
mold directly around the plastic? That's why you do the wax step in between.
The wax step? Oh, sorry. When you're going to do the bronze, you make a replica in wax, and you make, we have paper here somewhere, so I can draw something. Oh, cool.
I got it.
Tell me what page.
Oh, you found it?
So if we have, so if I have the chicken wings like that, say, the chicken wing there, chicken wing there, chicken wing there, these are all waxes. I'll make, like, usually it's 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 wax sprue like this. And then we'll have gates that go up to each, right? This is all in wax, and then the bottom, we'll have a cup, like a drinking cup. And then these will have small vents up and off in there. So that when we poured, we make the tree like this and build it this way. So all of this is wax. These are the pieces that are gonna come out of it. And that'll be sitting on the table like this, and we flip it up, that becomes the pour spout. So we take this whole unit, which is called a tree, with the main feed sprue is the one in the center. The sprues run from that main sprue to each piece, and the material will go out and up the vents. So when it's like this, they take that whole unit and they dip it in the ceramic shell that I'm talking about. So the first one's really, really thin detail layer, they dip it in, and then they dip it a second time in depends on who does it, they dip it in a second time for the detail, then they'll add stuff with more grit to it to build thickness, and they continue to dunk that until something like this. Each chicken wing, like I said, is probably this big, so the unit's like monstrous.
Right.
They take that whole thing and they put it in the oven and they melt it out, the wax melts. So then you have a void in the center. They keep the mold hot, bring the mold out hot, pour the hot bronze in. The bronze goes down, it hits the bottom, where the bottom, a lot of the sediment will fall, and then the clean material goes up, back down, fills, and then out the vent. So then you have that. So when you break that all apart, then you have this tree. So you gotta cut all these, that's why I was saying, like the attachment points here become pretty critical if you want to do the least work on the chicken wing, you know what I mean?
So
Like,
does the wax actually dissolve or go out the channels? Like
the wax
that
gets
kind of
boiled out,
evaporate?
there's nothing left of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they put it in, it's like 600 degrees for hours, you know what I mean? They just put it in with everything. It boils down, there's no residue left over, it totally burns everything out. I've done a lot of organic burnouts where you do the same thing, but you're just using the actual object. I was working with an artist in Toronto, and we were doing these bronze cardboard boxes, so we'd take a messed up cardboard box, just like that, and we would start making it with different sprues and things. We put our own layer on it, then we build it up, and a box like that would end up being like this big. We put that all in the oven, and it burns the actual object out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So therefore, and then therefore you
Then
get
it's,
the mold.
then you have the mold, but those are one time as well, and you spend
Right.
lots of money,
Right.
but you get a bronze cardboard box, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the back, if you're gonna do it in your garage, that's how you would do it probably. Ceramic shell is, it's time sensitive and it's really expensive, so if you're not doing a long run of things, then it's not useful. So for me, I have a mixer, I don't use it because they have the freshest stuff at the foundry, they have the best bronze, and they do it, it's
They're
the
set up
best,
for it.
it's the best first time, you know?
Set up for it.
So,
Apparently you can do that with an anthill too.
an anthill, yeah, you seen those?
It's amazing, yeah.
Do you wanna
Was it PETA that was all
use the
over
wire
him
to
or something? Or?
take that off?
sure.
I did
Because
make
it's like
it
you're
is.
killing
Put it on
innocent
the
ants
board.
by filling.
And with
What he's talking about is like this artist just came out with pouring molten
It was aluminum,
yeah, because it flows better, right down into ant hills, and then it comes out this like organic.
They're amazing.
it didn't really work.
Because I think I put
He wants to smooth it
I have
back over and
just
do it
like
over?
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make an algae when I get home and do. That's the one I did with
that one too, it was like,
give me a motorcycle.
it was huge, it was huge.
So sorry, we gotta get.
Pastor.
So, how much water did you want in that bucket? I wasn't.
I was trying to visually think of how much we're gonna need for this.
Cause it's 1 to 1. And this might be too much. Are you mixing it here or in the smaller?
I'm gonna mix it in here, and we're gonna dunk in and pour in.
So this is probably too much water.
I think so. It's not, yeah, it won't go up, it just dissolves in there, it doesn't really get that much higher.
Like it feels weighty. Right?
That's
why
what
it's
he was
gotta
saying,
be
it
done.
only got any closeness to something like drives.
Wintering stays like fleshy.
Oh, and we gotta do, let's bring those, the clay things over too. Let's set those in the middle here. Those will be our last things to pour. If anybody wants to try some of those, we're probably gonna have a little bit of plaster left over, so if you wanna stick whatever you want in clay like that and put it on this board, then we can pour a couple extra at the end. Because rather than just having extra in the bottom of the bucket, we might as well pour something, you know?
We can do some more these guys that are flat on the bottom.
Oh, there's.
Yeah, just like roll them or something, or, I don't know, it might be weird.
You can stick your finger in the clay too.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to get dirty and then eat a ham sandwich.
Which one is?
So,
this?
yeah.
The NSA was here, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Pick up some ID.
All right,
The
well,
NSA was.
I wish I
here.
could stay and watch the thing.
boys, it
All
only
right.
takes like a couple minutes, like this part goes really quick. You can't stay longer? Okay.
It's only at 4:30.
We'll give you your object later, that's okay.
Okay. See you Monday.
Bye.
The biggest thing here is, most people will tell you, and it is the right way to do it, is that you mix this, what's considered the island version, is that you take handfuls or bucketfuls and you slowly sift it in there. And what you want the material to do is to be as non-clumpy in there as possible, and you want it to lay on the water and slowly set in the bottom. And then we're gonna keep doing that. So we'll take it by hand and shake it over, and shake it over, and shake it over, and shake it over, and then it's gonna slowly, as it goes in and it falls through the top, it's gonna mix by itself at some point.
So you don't necessarily have to agitate it?
Right. We will after,
Oh, okay.
very, very lightly. But it's gonna slowly settle and build up, and then in the center on the top, you'll get these little islands form, and you know you're really close to being the right consistency. And then once you feel like it's not falling anymore and you're getting the islands that you want, which you'll visually see, then we'll go in there and slowly agitate our hand. I'm talking like, just like, like you were at the beginning, because I didn't know how that was gonna go. And you just go kind of slowly, and all we want it to do is become cake batter and not over. Because the more you mix it, like some people mix it, they'll take one of those handheld things and just mix it, but you're adding so much air into it that you can't get the air bubbles out. And like, we had our air bubble problems with some of these molds.
Right.
But the plaster, you want it as thin as possible so that it slides in there really nicely. So what we're gonna do is, I usually do it by hand, but sometimes because we're doing this, we're gonna have to do the whole-
Are you
another box.
gonna do the tadpole?
This is gonna be a lot of
I'm
plastic.
gonna try, I'm gonna see if it'll work.
think so.
The object, the object is not very big except for the air.
Yeah.
I have to release on it, it's not.
It's a lot, right? These are small.
We can do one more mix too if we have to.
Yeah.
All right, so I usually like to do it, you can only really do it, you're one person because you're like going back and forth. But, usually, if you buy it in the bag's usually tall and you're like over top. So I like to get things set up so that you're almost going perfectly back and forth.
So you want something to put underneath
Like
that?
if we could go with something that would bring it up just a little bit so that we can go right across, you know? Like, a scooper.
A scooper, you mean? Like a,
Oh, no, you're talking about, you gotta go about 4 inches?
you want the scooper or do you?
No, he wants to lift it.
This one.
Oh, okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, so then you can just spill right over. I'm gonna take it by hand loosely, and I'm just gonna dip it through my hand and let it fall down like that.
Is that toxic?
What is this
What
stuff?
is it?
You should probably be wearing that. If you're doing this every day,
Okay.
no, it's not getting too bad. A lot of people, you shouldn't be breathing, regardless if it's toxic or not, you should not be breathing airborne pretty much anything. But
Yeah.
people do this for a living and don't wear a mask. In an institutional such setting, I should probably be saying,
Yes, we're.
like, let's wear a mask for everything.
Clap up your lungs, right?
But for a kid who grew up in an auto body shop that we were spraying stuff and grandfather smoking cigars, I think I've done a little worse for myself before. Full flashing. Right. So this does take a while, but it makes a better consistency. Even like scooping in here and fluffing it up before you grab it helps a lot. Just because the chunks are gonna stay chunks in there, you know, you don't want a chunk in the chunk will go right to where the most detail you need in your mold for sure, you know, like without fail.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, because in this one, the,
The chunks, you don't
You
see
didn't
them.
affect it?
Right. You can see they're starting, but they're gonna actually be, like when I drop it, you'll see they slowly go down, but they'll be pronounced and they'll stay. You can see
So
that,
that's when it's getting close to the
I'll
top.
show you, like you'll be able to see it, but like as you go, you know that you're getting pretty full here. Like it probably, that other would probably take this whole box for sure, but. You see if like two people are doing this, we'd just be bumping hands or. Actually, you guys can, somebody want to do some? Just shake it in or no? It's fine, good.
This sets in about like 50 minutes?
Well,
This
it gets
stuff,
warm.
this stuff I'm not sure exactly.
this is just regular plaster from the art store.
This is the Art Store plaster, which I don't know, does it say on it what the setting time is?
No, just looking.
On the side. This side.
That's just the way.
Isn't that it?
Do not take internally.
May cause burn.
If this happens, call a physician. Huh. Never would have thought of that. Keep going. Do we have pieces of 2x4 or something?
Oh,
Just short pieces. I want to put 2 pieces under here that brings this up so that if it runs off, it doesn't run onto the floor. It'll just kind of stay on in the plastic. Maybe 2 feet long.
Making fingerprints.
No, I've seen if this will work as a festival, but I don't think they're gonna turn it so well.
I just want this plaster to stay.
Yeah, they look like
Sure.
tadpoles
It's gonna
or.
be like really, grainy.
we're making a wall.
I'll set it
That
down
could be interesting, especially if you make
Oh.
here like that.
multiple.
So then if it runs off, it doesn't run off the table. And then push it this way so that we're gonna do the same thing under there. If you guys wanna do that? Because then it'll just keep, hopefully, stay closer
For
to
next
the.
time I know when I make my dim boxes, I know the right way to do it. You doing okay?
Smaller hands. takes a little smaller, a longer time.
I'm sorry.
No, nobody needs to be sorry. I'm not going to labor anymore. Sorry. Didn't get bigger hand.
He said sorry.
No
That was a
movements.
funny-
So you tell me that happened to us upstairs?
$4.20. This thing's gonna be weird.
Making a big damp box, Professor.
That's great.
Faster. Maybe a lot, right?
Oh, well, a lot. It's fine.
Maybe faster.
We will, yeah, we
I
can.
don't know if those are gonna
Alright.
work,
Does it
they're
work?
gonna be really grainy.
That's fine.
I can cut it down if it's too big.
Oh, did you,
It's got extra.
you didn't want to put those over here, right?
Oh, yeah, we can, yeah, we're gonna pour we'll pour the molds too then. I can pour the escape mold and the chicken wings if you want, if we have extra.
Yeah, well, we've got 2 boxes.
I want the chicken wings.
Oh, that's nice. You're saying so we have souvenirs? Yeah.
Pour this one. And then we'll pour- Can I have, do we have 2 more 2x4s that size? Or like 18 inches?
Wide enough or?
Did you do me a favor? Can you take that green box out from underneath it, because I'm not tall enough. It's
You
getting
want me
really
to
hot.
take over for you?
Whatever, or you can just take the green box out from under it, because it's getting too, there you go. So much better.
Not that wide.
Yeah. Those work.
Well,
Should make it work.
You can do
There's like
Yeah.
the short one, that's the short.
Well, the fluffer filler. Such a cool teamwork. Fluffer and a filler.
You guys all asked.
When you get-
But it's rather hard, so you have to keep doing it to go in the direction.
So yeah, this is gonna show like controlling the tension as far as the distorting the mold.
They do, depending on which wax you use, you can make it, when you pull it out, you can, depending on the thickness of the wax, you can kind of tweak them back. Like the sticks that I cast the sticks in 3 pieces, and I drilled in this Sarasota in the back of my truck on a hot day. And they were like, and I had to like straighten them back out, and it was a problem. Luckily, I used aluminum, and bronze is pretty good too, that once it's done, you can use a clamping system to kind of tweak them back. But for an object like this, where the skate blade's really thin, it's tough to get that straight, you know? That's why it's nice to have a box. Like I did these fairly quick, but if I was to do it like, I always do it too quick, I could do it slower and make a really, you want these to be, like this one you can tell isn't square.
Right.
So it's tough to get it squeezed exactly right. If it was perfectly square, then you could squeeze 2x4s every way and make it happen.
Look.
Is it? How's it going?
This is like a lot of plastic.
No, yeah, we have to do a lot. This is gonna be a lot of plaster.
We need a bigger boat.
Bigger
You
hand.
guys need to get moving.
Okay, we could both do it.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't get your hand wet with the doing
Good ones around the plastic.
the
We're gonna
create
use it
rocks and
anyways.
plastic.
Don't worry about it, we're using all full of plaster.
Well, I'm just saying, so they don't forget, they were using a bag, they were reusing of their own.
So every time I do this, I'll go in and I'll reset. So that these parting lines kind of meet up as nice as possible.
Right.
Oh, I see what it is.
Inevitably, you're gonna have some flashing line, but I mean, when I first started teaching casting, I did casting demonstrations at the University of Windsor where I did my undergrad. We had full calendar there. We did in undergrad as beginning sculptors, you would actually cast something using sand molding, and sand casting is like cope and drag. You has two-part molds that it holds the form by compacting the sand, and it's probably the most crude way to cast something. But in teaching them how to make something so crude, it forced them to learn how to sand and finish and polish back the edges that were kind of flashing and nasty, you know. So, how are we looking here? Starting to clump up. Keep going. We'll actually get. Yeah, we're gonna use. Yeah, we need more. Yeah, so the islands are starting, but we want like a whole clump of islands. This is gonna be.
We need 1,000 islands.
We need 1,000 islands. I hope the plaster one
Mix what?
I'm just thinking, when I poured the wax in this one, like, I poured it too hot, and it was like, it came out the cracks and like all over the floor, and I was like, wax sucks, cause like, it doesn't just bread, and it's like really nice wax, so it gets into every, like it's soft, so you can't scrape it, and you never
That's
get
big
it.
islands here.
Big islands?
Big islands there.
Oh yeah, we're close. Do a little bit more around the outside.
Yeah, it's got more.
A little bit more around the outside. And then
Can you mix it?
I'm gonna stick my hand in there and see how it feels, and then I'll ask you if you want to put it in. Yeah, we'll need some more.
Who's?
So I'm just grabbing the clumps. Okay, that's probably good. I'm just grabbing the clumps, slowly moving around. I don't want to let it take too much.
Are you squeezing?
Yeah, and if I grab a piece, I'll squeeze it. But other than that, I'm just kind of doing this inside. There are some clumps, who, you know, if I was doing it like for a perfect finish, I would really I might even whisk it through like a thick strainer, you know, sift it, I mean, yeah. But this is pretty good. We're gonna have to start pouring here pretty quickly. I'm gonna do the big ones first. I need one of those quart cups.
We have one of those.
Okay,
I don't know if they're gonna turn out so well. They're probably gonna be, they might be
There's still a little in here.
This is gonna get a little messy.
There's still a little faster. You want me to close it up there?
yeah, just twist it for now. So should we like tap it for the
Yeah.
air bubbles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mine needs no hooks.
Usually, like, professionals will have like a vibrating cable.
Agitators?
Vibrating people? I'm like a magic fingers.
Yeah.
You don't know about that.
I really do.
If you're home casting, you can turn on the dryer. Well, I mean, it depends on if you want plaster. Can you tip this up?
Wow, you're still letting me.
You know, when you live in home.
Yeah, tap it and see if it goes down. It doesn't need that much, that one, really. Something like the fingers have this, I tip it up and let all the stuff go down into the fingers.
Do you want do you want us to help scoop and
Yeah, sure,
pour out the others?
yeah, here, you wanna fill that one and fill that one? Yep, yep, there are some coming in. I need enough, give me another one of these, please, a little, yeah. And then, this one needs some, just a little one. Carol, go do one of the bigger things. Or do the flat ones.
So now these are one-time molds that you use?
The
The
alginate,
alginate?
yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Maybe it'll both come out.
Bubble, bubble, turtle, turtle. Oh my goodness, that's good.
You might actually want to smear some of this with my
Sure, you have enough to do the whole thing? Right here.
Pour it on my head.
I'll try not
I'm
to.
gonna wipe off your sneaker, okay?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Go ahead and put drop cloth on.
I have to.
Turn off my Sunday best. It's fine
Okay.
with
Oh, it's going. Yeah. Yeah, we kind of, it's still.
There's the fingers over there.
Oh, yeah.
You have a hockey stick on them.
Not any
We have a lot more.
Plant it.
If I could have, too bad.
You mean to put your hand into it? or-
No, to make a
Turn
wet
it
box.
off?
If that's gonna be
A
blown
wet
up,
box?
a wet box.
Yeah, what do you know how big your wet box?
My damp box
Yeah, your
is?
damp box square needs to be? We can pour this plaster right in there. It's gonna get hard
Alright.
anyways.
Okay.
Do we have any, throwaway containers? What we have?
I mean, it'll come out of the box once it hardens, or out of the thing once it
We can,
hardens.
tape up this box, use this cardboard box.
She just said that she had
Oh, she does have one?
she needed a specific
Yeah.
thing of plaster anyway, might as well use it.
Right.
If the chicken wings were tough, that stuff was getting thick, it's starting to get thick, and I only think a couple filled all the
Is
way.
that any more?
My pleasure is more bright.
Anyway.
So you should do it now.
Yeah, let me just clean this
Yeah.
out.
Like, really?
You put it right here.
Does anybody need to rinse plaster off their hands, so you know you're not supposed to wash it down the sink, you can
Empty you do.
put it, rinse inside the.
You can just keep going, yeah. Because my last one didn't work. Perfect. That worked.
Wow.
What a damn box.
Nailed it.
Thank you. And now I know how to mix plaster, because my last one didn't work. My little ones work, but my big ones didn't. I don't know if there was too much moisture in it or whatever. I'll mix it out.
Wait, and you just, go. Where you going?
If I was you, the floor is probably the most level thing in here, I would set it on the floor and then you have a level piece. Unless you take two by fours and level them.
Yeah.
What do you do with the wet box? What is that for?
The
Keep
top,
playing, yeah.
pick it up, it's little things that you don't, you gotta be nervous. Does it come into the
We
counter?
pour,
I don't have. You can make that too, please. It'll come off. That's good. Thank you. This is service right here.
This is the-
Thank you.
If you go to my old high school, the floor's not level.
This is my going out shirt. Kind of painted. This is just regular plaster.
Yeah, it's leftover stuff. I got her finger right, you know? Like her finger that was.
That's gonna be weird, man. That's
It's
gonna
gonna be a
really.
giant mass.
That thing's gonna be odd.
There's a bucket inside the sink that we can rinse something.
Yep.
That's it. No, what, like 10, 15 minutes? That's fine. Brownie. I think that what you should take out.
I don't think.
Then we have a plaque. And then with the plaster, we do it on that.
No, that's the plaster is final product. The plaster is the final product. The mold.
Because she was trimming yesterday with this wheel.
So you can only use it 3 times. That's what you got. But yeah, the
Think about how
people
much
we
care
had
you
doing
have
workshop
in
last time
these
said
stickers,
just
yeah.
one time, but they were
I pulled multiple out of one alginate mold. The more you use it, the more it's gonna tear, and you're gonna get kind of weird imperfections. But it can be done.
And then how do you make this rubber ones?
I do the same thing, but I have, like this one, because I was working with the actual skate, I just went straight from the skate right to this.
But how do you mold these? It's just melted rubber.
It's a two-part rubber that comes, it's like, you mix them, they harden. So they mix them by weight, so they come in two big 5-gallon barrels, I mix them, and then I pour them in a similar fashion to these plastic molds. And then I slowly slice them down the center to get them to open like that and pull the units out. But the skate was tricky because I wanted to be pretty straight, and I ended up being able to get it almost pretty perfect down the whole skate by cutting it, you know. But the tough part in the middle of that skate is that where it loops down, there's pieces that come together like this, and I had to cut through those as well. And in either side, you gotta pull that through the plastic. So there's odd things, like, you know, if you were to do the deer over again, or whatever, is it a deer or is it a
Rabbit
rabbit?
deer.
I think it's a fawn. I think if I would think that through a little bit more as far as where the ears are and what's the best way for me to get that out of there, you know? That is probably made from a porcelain slip. It's probably a porcelain slip cast in a 2-part mold. I didn't see where the seam is on it, but that's probably how that thing's made, you know? It's probably how it should be made. That might be even a multiple piece mold where, because the ears wrap so weirdly, you might do 2 down the back side, so it's split, and then a face part, so you actually pull that apart in 3 pieces. But you see, like, I don't do a lot of casting in that manner, but the people that make multiple part plaster molds, they're amazing pieces of work that like bolt together, and like for slip casting porcelain, the piece of the mold itself is a piece of work, you know what I mean? It's like so perfect, so nice. And they used to use that all, you know, for everything. But then when you get these kind of new types of plastics coming out, like, why would you not? Now they just do it. Like, you'll see YouTube has it all. You watch it and they'll lay it out on somebody's whole body. There's one of a full woman that just lays, and they go even right around underneath. And so they really have to finish in the back, you know, because the back's kind of flat. But they do it all, and then they lay up plaster bandages over top. So that's the hard part that keeps the rubber mold together. Because if you laid it open, the rubber mold would just want to flake, you know. But because you lay the plaster over, then you can set that rubber mold into the plaster mold. Now this is like watching paint dry. And I don't know.
So how do they know when to take it?
It's gonna get chalky. This might be, The plaster is tough because we were like right on the edge of like almost too chunky to go in a thin piece like this and fill. Because you can imagine that the thick part of the chicken wings down at the bottom, we're pouring through this little spot, so it might back up. That's why I was poking. Those will go probably quicker. The bigger stuff, because the alginate has water in it too, it's going to be longer.
I mean,
You guys have a
does
you
it
guys
get
have a
hot
warm
and
room?
then cool, or do you have to?
No.
The only thing
Do
that's
you have to
warm
wait
might
till
be that
it's
room.
cool or like to the touch, like?
Because this stuff isn't that thick, it won't. This stuff won't get that warm. I don't think. Like the plaster won't get very warm. We also use pretty cold water. That's going to slow it down some.
So
And
you're better off with warm water.
the ratio is if it's warmer, it's going to cook quicker. If you're doing one big pour, yeah, it'd probably be better to do warmer. If you had to like do multiple buckets, then you do it a different way. You know? The top will get kind of chalky looking, and you'll see a color difference between chalky white and kind of like grayish wet, look like damp looking. Like not using this plaster ever like before, I don't know exactly. You know, it's getting like chunky where it starts pulling apart, like and holding its own shape right now. So it's getting good, but I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, I don't know. When you could take these pieces on the top and pick them up and break them in half, you can kind of see, you know, that it's dry all the way through. But thicker things like the hams are going to take longer, obviously, because there's like a lot of mass in the center of them. Like this thing, there's a lot of plaster in there. You know, that's why they slip cast those things, because they can slip cast them hollow. You know, you just put the material in there and roll it around, and continue to do that. You're building up small layers. You know.
So you were saying about slip,
Mm-hmm.
you don't,
I'm not a ceramicist, so I've never really worked with slip casting.
So you need it?
No. It's like a liquid.
Yeah, you take
It's liquid clay.
It's liquid
Yeah.
clay, so you're
You buy it already like that, like you
Yeah,
don't just buy it.
and,
it's slip.
No,
and
I
then
mean,
you
like,
pour it into plaster.
and then like, I guess you can make this hollow too if you wanted to. You can pour that out.
It's difficult because with the plaster, the time between when it's hard and where it's going to come, like if you just poured it out, it's going to pull from the edge. It's not going to pull just the stuff from the center, you know what I mean? So it's going to be tough. The strength in plaster is that when it gels, it's one piece, whereas if you were doing small layers, those layers don't adhere to each other as well as, you know, where the slip is meant for that more, you know what I mean? Because when it comes out of the mold, it's like clay, so you can still rework it, whereas this comes out of the mold hard, you know?
Well, but when you do slip, it hardens the plaster. I believe what happens is the plaster sucks the water out.
Right,
So the
but
clay forms.
It does, but it's just like you sculpted it, but it's still malleable. You could still move the slip, and then you fire it from there.
I guess so.
Yeah. So like you would get it, and it's still delicate when you pull it from that mold. You know what I mean? It's just as delicate as a finished piece of clay that you just finished burnishing or something, you know, before firing. Because it's not. It might be a little bit less water content than that, but the only difference between clay is how much water content is left in it. You know.
But I think with a slip mold, what happens is they pour the slip in, they let it stay, then they pour it out after a little while so you get a certain thickness of it, okay? Then you let the plaster suck the water out so that, it's almost like when we do our hand building here. I did a flower over there, and after a few hours, it's formed.
Right.
It's hard, and you can take it out, but you can't keep laying it.
You can't carve into it.
You could carve,
Yeah,
you could
yeah, that's what I
carve,
mean.
that's about all you could do, but you
Right.
cannot.
Right.
You'd be able to.
And most of those slips, like they'll have like a warm room where it's I don't know, if you keep it at 98 degrees or 100 degrees and it's pulling. You put those in there and it's like to dry clay quicker. Like our ceramics department has. You go in there and it's like there's just baking shelves of
Oh, we don't have
pieces and pieces and pieces that are pulling. You know, 'cause you want it dry as possible before you put it in there because it's gonna blow up if it's got too
Yeah.
high a water content.
Professor Lansing, what he does to make sure is he puts it in the kiln and runs the kiln at 200 for the whole night to make, that's how he tries to make it.
Oh, that's the fail safe?
Yeah, so we don't have explosion.
I guess we do have a water.
Hey, you never know, the explosion could be a happy accident, you never know.
No one takes other people's music.
That's true though, that's true. Dominoes.
You know where your studio was?
So how you did your,
Well, this is said,
the peas, like how did you?
Oh, that's what we didn't do, I didn't cast any,
anyone?
Anyone?
I was gonna cast a little bit of plastic to show you what I did for the chicken wing.
Cast plastic?
Yeah. I don't know how it works in clay, I can try it. We have another piece of slab, little slab of clay.
Yeah,
Is
and
that bucket
Yeah, that
on the-
bucket right there.
The first big
The plastic
bucket.
one.
It's so wet.
Oh,
Do you have anything a little bit drier than that?
There's some that's really wet, and there's some that's really dry.
because what happens is if it's too dry, what happens is it doesn't take your mold.
Right.
This is too wet. This might,
This is good, this will work.
because what's happening to those, that's recycled clay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I guess you're gonna spray it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and spread it.
Yeah.
Oh, you too.
How many gas stoves do you have? How many gas stoves?
Gas cones, we have one big gas cone, like a walk one.
Okay.
If you don't wanna walk on it. So if you wanna look around, there's the patio right there.
You go out the doors with the contract.
Weird. Kind of what brown sounds like. Except
It's
louder.
always a laugh.
Yeah.
This one's safe.
One's got more room to breathe, but the stuff inside the molds is not.
Yeah. The original plan just popped out. Look at that.
Well, that's what I'm thinking in that bucket.
They all had eaten.
Really?
Small crowd like ordered them.
Small, hungry crowds. That's what I.
There were probably only like 20 things in that bag, you know?
I didn't see anything.
So what were the popsicle sticks supposed to be for?
I thought we were gonna be mixing a little bit less. Like we would be mixing small like batches
Oh,
for
okay.
small things. That changed. Now they're for whatever you think you could use them
That's
for.
right, yeah.
Log cabins.
Yep.
Painting.
Yes, I can take it to the back.
Well,
Yeah,
this,
the plaster. Your back on the corner.
you just don't wanna keep moving it.
Yeah, I would just leave it.
If you find a
You're
level
gonna
place
get
in here,
cracks
you just
if you
leave it in
move it
here.
around too much.
I can?
As it starts
Yeah.
Let
to.
me go get the top.
You just put it on the bottom shelf.
The wedging table should look like this, not a chance.
Right?
That's just for comedic effect.
Yeah,
yes.
The wedding table should look like this. I remember a wedding table that will never look like that again.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you made an impression.
This is, I'm just doing something so that we can pour some plastic in. I don't, for that stuff, like you're talking about the blue cheese that I was making? That's what you're asking.
Okay.
That stuff is, it comes in two parts, I'll show you how it works. It's actually a cool eye trick. It happens like it hardens right in front of your face. It goes from clear to white, which is pretty cool.
Taylor, do you have to go soon? Cause we can always
What time is
pull
it?
the plaster later. Well, I'm just asking if you had time
Yeah, I'll-
to drive
I'll-
back to Tampa.
Yeah.
Rush hour.
Oh, wow.
'Cause we can
It's
always,
fine. You can pull these later.
plaster later.
Problem is with my molds,
Yeah.
Wanna take them with you? They're setting down.
yeah, my truck will be a plaster disaster in the back.
I wouldn't move them yet if you're.
No, just try the top on so that if.
I would let the top off.
Yeah, you're gonna be sitting here for a little bit, right? Or are you gonna?
Yeah, we're
Is
gonna
this
watch
gonna
the
slow the
plaster.
drying?
We're gonna watch the plaster set.
This is where I need toothpicks. There's not toothpicks.
Just tell us what you want to.
I don't need any help right now. This is quick. So this is, you can buy this smooth cast. I use pretty much everything from Smooth On. It's a company. Like all these casting rubbers that I buy. Everything comes from there. This one, you could buy, I think you can buy this set at like Michael's or things like that, or any art supply store. This is just called Smooth Cast 3000 Q. I don't know what the difference is. Sometimes because it's more fast setting than the other, they put a Q on the end or whatever. But this stuff sets up, and like when I make those chicken wing, the blue cheese, I have like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to work with it, and then I pour it and just let it do what it does. The chunks in there, I pre-make. So like I have a bunch of different little pieces that have powdered dyes in them to like give it like the kind of bluey green colors. So I hand mix those pigments in there, pre-make them, and then cut them and sand the. It's kind of weird to sand blue cheese chunks I've made out of plastic for hours, but I do it. And then so I'll mix those in while I'm mixing these and kind of make, it is like a runnier blue cheese. I'll put a little bit in the bottom with the chicken wing sitting there, and like I pour it and move it and kind of move the table around so it like goes in the way I want it to go. But there's like between hard and being able to move it around, it's like you have so little time. Like I mess up a lot of them because then I have to chip them out and break all the plastic out of them. But so when I pour it, if it's too runny, it doesn't look like blue cheese because it's like a big puddle. So it's like I have to wait for that moment, and it's different every time depending on humidity or like whatever's going on in the studio if it's cooler. But you'll see, these. I'll just pour this thing and see what it does. It's going to be kind of janky, but.
Now, do you pre-mix them, or you pour the blue in and then the yellow on top?
No, you measure them out equally, separately, and then you mix them together. And once you have them mixed, because this is bigger, and I don't care where it's going to run, I can just pour it. Whereas those, I'm like mixing in the cup, I'm feeling the cup get hot, and I'm like, okay. And then by the time it gets, you'll see it happen, by the time it gets to the point that I want to use it, I'm like mad dashing, and as I'm pouring it, it's turning white from the inside out, and then it's done. Like it happens as quickly as that. So you want to know exactly what you're doing by the time you're doing this. So something like these two things are like,
I thought it was gonna be blue.
I thought it was gonna be powder too.
some of these things are like, maybe this is the hardener,
Duh.
and it doesn't,
It's coming.
You need like
You run it
pliers.
under the water, or?
no, this,
That's not a good idea.
I usually have to put it in my vise at home and really ram on it, but,
How long you do it?
She is a drawer.
Vice grip.
You can do it.
Just tap it, then you tap it on the table.
Catch up.
Then
do you have a sledgehammer?
Heinz 57.
You need to break the seal,
It's
right?
embarrassing.
You could do it.
It's a seal.
But as long as the blue one is out by itself, as long as it's not mixed, it's okay.
With the cap.
Correct.
The hardener.
Okay. So it doesn't make a chemical reaction.
tough performance now.
Just wash your fingers. Yay!
So this is real precise, just by eye, you know? So like I was saying, a set like this, I think it's like $30 maybe. But I can make, I make 5 chicken wing worth of blue cheese with it, 6 maybe. 2 of them that are keepers and 4 that just get chunked. But the ones that don't work out, they end up becoming chunks, so it all works. It doesn't really matter which way you go, but I like to pour the blue into the yellow, the one that's not the hardener into. This might be hot.
You gotta stir it.
I'm gonna go with,
Here's stir stick.
I'm gonna go with one, just because it gets hot. I'll go with one of these, I guess, stir stick.
And those cups are pretty thin.
The cups, like, it gets hot, like the cup, this cup, when I mix them in these cups, they start like falling apart, almost. I should be wearing rubber gloves.
You want?
You want?
Do you want?
Wait, no, I'm already in too deep. It's just when it gets to be plastic, you don't want it on you. When it gets to be hard. So. Oh, this is wet everywhere. I don't know if that's enough for all that, but it'll be interesting. There you go.
Okay, start counting.
Lisa says it's more than enough.
It's more than enough? I usually try, I mean with the chicken wings, like, the whole thing happens in less than 45 seconds. You can feel that it's already getting warm.
How do you know when to pour it?
Like with this, I'll pour it now because,
You don't have to wait for it to do something.
Get too thick.
but you wanna come and see it, it's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen? It just
Turns color?
It turns white. It is just enough.
Not more than enough.
See, watch.
Can you start turning white?
Yep. I don't know what it's gonna do against the clay though.
It is starting to turn.
You've never done this?
It's starting to turn.
I've never done it on clay.
There you go.
What?
Oh, we should videotape that.
I know.
That's
I was
our
going to, and I was like, oh, it'd probably take too long to chemical reaction.
And how long does this take to harden?
We'll be able to pull it out in 5 minutes.
Wow.
It's good for your brain.
It's like acid.
I mean, it's survival of the fittest, the weakest brain cells go first, so you just continually get smarter. Beer, plastics, like, see, I
I
think,
credit the fact that I've got a terrible memory from.
but like it's, if you hover your hand, like it's hot.
I would be,
Don't
I'd have
touch
no
it.
memory.
Don't touch it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But like I think maybe where it's thin over here because of the wetness and the cold of the clay, that it's not reacting real quickly, but
It's starting to spread the white.
I don't know what that does.
It's a feel-good measure.
It's a feel-good measure. Yeah, so like I think, I don't know what that does. I think it'll hurt.
It goes,
It's already-
It's spreading.
In here?
Does it shrinks?
Yeah, it's gonna shrink a little bit, but I don't know.
With the
That's
clay.
also bringing water out of the clay with the heat. I really don't know.
Yeah, we don't, I think.
So you should say it should be closer.
If you wanna let it. 'Cause it probably is separating.
That's like
water
yesterday
out of
with the wheel. when Beatrice and I kept running away from it.
Oh,
I mean, not the wheel, the,
It's coming. It's getting,
yeah, it's,
see, this stuff's already tacky.
the
I think maybe,
sled load.
this stuff I've had for 6 months, maybe. I think that, Smooth On, they won't guarantee anything over 6 months. Like if you say, the first thing they ask you is like, hey, this is not working, what's going on? And they say, how long have you had it on the shelf? And then if it's like, oh, if it's close, like, I've had it for 4 months, it's like, is your shop air conditioned or not? Like, cause that changes.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
once you open it and it, like those 5-gallon barrels, like I gotta do something with the last gallon to make some mold because soon they're not gonna be worth it. You know, it's not just gonna be a waste of $100.
How much does a 5-gallon barrel of?
5-gallon kit was $930 of that,
Really pretty good.
of that, the
What were you
purple
making
stuff.
with that?
That was for the lightning stuff, but that was a pretty good paying job, so. So. But like I use, for like that's the thing, like you, after a gallon, like you're going right to a 5-gallon because it's expensive. If you buy
Exactly.
5-gallon kits, it's way more expensive than 5
Exactly.
gallons, so. That's some of the nice things about doing casting jobs is that I'll do a job like that and then I'll have enough to make 4 of my own molds that's left over, and it didn't cost them any more money, the person that was paying me for the materials anyway, so like, but you gotta use it within 6 months or whatever, so.
Do you know why it does cost so much money? Is there
I have no idea.
Is it just because it's for like mold making and they assume that you can like?
It's the same thing if you ship artwork and you're like, yeah, it's art, they're like, oh, it's double,
Yeah.
triple, full, quad, you know?
It's just a specialty item.
It's a specialty item, and everybody that uses it makes a lot of money, like,
Because you would think
special
plastic would be
effects
like
stuff.
nothing.
I know. But like special effects stuff, movie guys, like,
Yeah,
any casting, art casting, all those things are like money things, you know what I mean? It's not like hobby people will
It's
buy
like
it.
a studio would be doing it for like a movie
Right,
or like something
right, and
like
it's all
$1
written
million
out.
budget, yeah.
so if you're a lowly artist, you're screwed.
In every way. Yeah.
See, like this, the top of this is getting a little bit hard. These are gonna take a while. Like that's not good yet. Those things are gonna take a while.
Humidity.
I don't, maybe mix it more with warmer water next time, maybe.
That's just regular.
I don't think we would have wanted to pour these very much thicker than we were pouring the material, so.
Well, this should be done, no?
But you can see where they start getting. Yeah, no, that's not. These might take longer because of the wet, being in wet clay too, you know, it's just gonna continue to keep.
This one has a pool of water on the top of it.
Right, it's gonna offset the water.
So then, this is the mold.
What, this?
Yeah.
This is good.
But that's not the final product.
Yeah. The final product.
Okay.
The mold is the clay.
The mold is the clay. Those ones, my chicken wings are cast with no mold, or not the chicken wings, I mean the blue cheese. I just pour it in that general. It's gonna be kinda cool.
Do you want me to scrub it up?
Probably just let the clay dry first. I don't know,
I think just clumping off.
clumping it off and then,
Like with water.
really?
Haven't you seen face off people?
Don't go there.
That water can touch that now, right?
Yeah, it's not very, the edges are a little,
It just has to be gentle.
that's just, we didn't get very much in there. Yeah, we can wash that off. That's actually pretty cool.
Oh, it's still warm.
Good.
You can wash clay on the sink over there?
Yeah, we have clay trap.
I know, I just didn't know if
Yeah.
it's still, yeah.
I mean, you don't put a lot down the sink, but if you're scrubbing
Yeah, so
something
I'm
off
saying
like
maybe
this.
like a
Yeah.
chunk off there.
So those are like, cast plastic is tough and you have to work with it pretty quickly. But anything slower for me, it would run too far, so I have to kind of just chase it.
And then you cut out and clean and.
Yeah, those ones not, like I use a nice piece of glass that I spray the whole piece of glass with the release. So then it rolls out and it hardens and then I can just even that, I have to twist it to the edge and slowly move it off, and then it comes
A
up.
little later, but.
Do you mix something in to get the speckles?
That's the pigment. I use powdered pigment that doesn't mix in. It doesn't
Blend in.
doesn't blend in, it stays its own
Yeah.
color. So what happens is I'll mix, when I do the mix, so I'll have two of those little cups. I'll have the chunks that I'm using, I'll put the chunks in, and I'll put powder on the chunks, and I'll wrap them around so that the chunks have a lot of powder on them. And then I'll put a little bit of the plastic mix in there. So I fill the cup with without chunks, and I add the chunks after, and then pour over, and it's like, it's just a weird little, and everyone's a little bit different depending on.
Give it a little.
Yeah, it's kind of like cooking.
How do you put paint on it, right?
It's toxic.
Probably, it's almost like
That would be nice.
a model. You know, like the model airplane.
It's very,
So what did you do for the lighting?
They're dressing room doors, they're putting new glass doors on there, so I did the 4 hockey sticks, so if you look at the 2 glass doors, 2 hockey sticks like this, and then on the inside 2 hockey sticks, so they mirror each other and they stand off the glass, stand off, so the door pulls, and then they move those doors out to the hallway, and then for those door pulls, there's 2 skate blades that you pull the door.
and I'm sure you could get it.
Oh, and they have
Aluminum actually.
aluminum.
Yeah, they wanted kind of like the brush, polish them and.
How did that work?
The casting took a long time, like the people I use for casting, they are bronze, almost all bronze. So when I had an aluminum project, they had to stop their bronze to do the aluminum. So then they waited till there was another aluminum project so they could do 2 aluminum projects in the middle, so that actually took 5 weeks. But I first went and looked at the project in October, and I just dropped it off last week. So it was slow. Kinda cool.
There really wasn't that much clay on it, the clay was just stuck to the roughness of
Good.
this.
Good. Hang that on my wall.
You can paint that too, right?
Yeah, you can say, if you
Like a
scuff it
model
up.
airplane.
Like this has enough texture that you could probably just primer it and paint it just the way it is, you know? It's like it's chiseled out of rock.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
What is it?
It's a
Harley Davidson.
Harley Davidson
Oh.
placard that goes on one of the motorcycles, I don't know. Hopefully I'm going to Bike Week in 2 weeks, and my motorcycle's completely disassembled for powder coat, and I have to put it back together and go in 2 weeks, so. I guess I'm just gonna start cleaning up, and we'll see if we can open those or not.
So, I'm
Yes.
gonna go there. Thank you, Tara.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I guess I'll come back, I guess,
Yeah,
for the results, I'll take it apart. Because it might need like an overnight, you said, right?
I don't know what we wanna do, if you want to
If you wanted. I don't know.
Well,
To be safe, I would wait.
I'll be back Monday, yeah, it's overnight.
There, but like, see a class like Monday morning that uses all the tables?
yeah.
Of course.
Oh, we can come back to it?
Well, we might have to, depends. Cause it might be a little while, so.
Leave it
We
outside.
can,
So then, how would,
Yeah, we can put them in there.
how would he take the hand out of here? Cut this plastic
You
off?
tear the alginate apart. When it gets hard, you pull the thing apart, and you have to slowly tear the alginate out. Like in the nooks and crannies of it in her hand, you might even have to get a tool and just start pulling the material out.
Okay.
You know. Like this one might be,
Yay.
no?
We can try it, it's okay. I know now how to do it.
Well, you have what, like 2 more?
Oh my god, I love it.
See, the tail's gonna be really, really delicate.
Wow, you're
I
good.
shall make thousands of you.
It's still
See
really.
the tail, just the tip broke off. You could sand that and make the tip back, look back. And see, like, this one might have even been, the clay was a little bit too chunky. Maybe we should have poured the the smallest ones first while it was more runny.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, more liquidate.
But we change that every time with this. I usually break the tops off first. Where is that? Over here.
So that's the knob.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it didn't fill.
Oh, really?
See, I
Didn't break down the
didn't, that
whole-
was too, it was too thick to go, everybody see that it was too
Yeah.
thick to go through that thin,
Mm-hmm.
that thin
But then
part.
whole.
But the detail
Oh,
comes,
that's
the
cute.
detail comes up nice. Like, that could be a happy accident knob that they look like
Yeah,
more
that's very
rustic, I don't know,
That looks better than the original.
than like the.
So
the
it's
whole
not a
necklace around it.
copy
But see, like, this one's got some weird,
filled in.
weird, like, mucky detail, I don't know what the deal is with that. That's from the clay.
Chunks of the algin, or?
Yeah, those are little air bubbles and stuff, but the plaster, once it's hard, you can really sand that pretty easily, you know? But that's really delicate right now.
This would be interesting, huh? Instead of mushroom. Exactly.
So, it's good.
Yeah.
This is one that didn't, this one wasn't like chosen, right? This one didn't matter as much.
Oh, okay.
I don't know,
So
what's
the
the color of the
bottom?
bottom?
I don't know. Oh, you're gonna work that.
See, like if you take this now, like you could probably wipe all of that off. You have to wipe where, because you can wipe detail off too. You know what I mean? And then you can get it nice and smooth.
Okay, so now, what do you do from here?
If you wanted to, you would do the same process with this thing, but you would do it with rubber to make it forever. But sometimes you could, like if you just wanted a plaster piece, just a one-off, you could just make it like this, you know what I mean, really fast. Alginate first started like something like a chicken wing, I can't recast that same chicken wing, so if I make a plaster model of it, then I can recast that later, you know what I mean? So if I had this now, if you could only afford alginate, you could make multiple, like you could make this plaster, make an alginate mold, then you have two, and then you can make an alginate mold of two and have four, and then you can make an alginate mold of, if that's what you wanted to do, you know what I mean? Yeah, once that dries, you can probably pull that out and there's gonna be a little bit of indentation, but I think the other ones, because it's still so wet in there, just leave them and then.
So if you like rinse this really lightly, it would lose a lot of detail, or?
I don't think so. You wanna try it?
Just to like get the texture up.
Yeah, just,
Well, no, you sand it when it's drier.
but if you take
Well, but
if you
the,
take it
just
over
to
there
get
and just
the,
Quickly
The
rinse it
extra
out.
water.
quickly rinse it, just get the,
yeah. Really lightly. Bottom first one.
not very hard.
No, it's like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sculpture.
Look at how cool that is. So does that mean it's still like too warm?
It's tough because even all these undercuts in here, no matter if it was hard, it's gonna be brittle and it's gonna try to break, so that's why you wanna try and cut these pieces up, you know?
Zoom time.
Also, when it's, if you
Thank
keep the piece, and when it's really dry, you can also
Did that help?
super glue them apart. Or
Oh, yeah,
glue
that's a
back
lot
together.
better.
Like, it's really, like, even just the
Yeah,
detail on there
that's
is
cool.
like
Yeah.
really weird.
Pretty nice.
And that could glue back on if you want it afterwards, once it's really dry.
Sculpture.
That's what it looks like.
Pretty cool. Where's that?
Bless you.
Of course, when I'm mixing the plaster and dumping it in, I don't start sneezing. Now I'm sneezing.
As my grandfather says, it's not my fault.
I didn't say it.
Bless you.
Now I can actually make a mold of this. The bottom edge of the bottle fell off. It's totally set.
Did that work for rinsing it though?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And if you don't rinse it, like it'll sand off so easily with really fine sandpaper.
I'm not good at sanding, so.
Not good at sanding. Well, that's not a way to get any better. I'm not good at that, I'm just not gonna do it anymore.
Well, I'm not a sculptor, I'm too
Dude, if I packed this stuff better, it won't fall over in my truck. And I strap it in.
to do anything 3D, so my husband he knows the experience like making
Who's that?
guitars and stuff, my husband
Oh,
Jonathan.
awesome.
'Cause he's got experience like making guitars, and, you know, like very fine
Expensive, fine
craftsmanship.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably leave it here and come back. There's somewhere safe I can put those things in?
So that it'll just like sit and dry?
Yeah.
Well, you mean leave in my office, or like, I mean, 'cause back there, like, it's, you know, anybody, like, you
They
can
got
either
it in
like,
mine and get it on Tuesday.
yeah, I mean, 'cause I can leave in my office, or, you know, nobody's gonna be around it there, 'cause if you leave it in here, like, somebody might,
Right.
wondering what it is or something.